deepfakes and the use of AI to cause trouble or to put out misinformation is one heavy place that the world is trying to tackle right now. And I'll make reference to the European Union conference on AI that just held. Now, beyond the deepfake situation, most recently I saw a video of Cristiano Ronaldo, and he was saying some things about himself and Messi. But in that video, the problem was that it was voice cloning. It was Cristiano Ronaldo's face fine, but his voice was cloned, and he was saying some things that he wasn't supposed to say. Okay. Now, these two principles you've mentioned, yes, I believe that whoever creates a video of that nature, a deep fake of that nature, also voice cloning of that nature should be punished. I must say that India is well advanced when it comes to adopting AI and technology law. India is very, very advanced. Down here in Africa, we have not created most of these laws yet. These bills are in place to become laws. So there is a lot of deliberation to do when it comes to that in Africa. Just recently, Nigeria passed the Nigerian Data Protection Act. And that is where we are currently. We're dealing with data protection. But to see that India has implemented or brought this law as part of the Information Technology Act that you mentioned is really, really applaudable. And it's something that, just as you've mentioned it, I'll have to go back and find this act and read it for myself, because I see the advancements there and I believe that they're good. So yes, whoever creates a video with such adverse information is supposed to be punished. Now, the people that aid and abet this thing, of course, laws everywhere, or I'll say laws across the world, provide sanctions for people that misappropriate information. Beyond misappropriating information, when you create such deepfake videos, you are infringing on the human rights of another person because you will make misrepresentations. Now, whoever helps in creating these videos, mostly this will apply to software companies. All these upcoming software companies, companies that are practicing with AI, companies that are creating these technologies and the framework for these technologies. It is time that the law and countries' governments clamp down on these companies and tell them that this is the limit to which you can apply technology. You cannot apply technology to the detriment of another person and to the spreading of misinformation. So yes, I believe that one, such people should be punished, and two, such companies or such enablers should be dealt with as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, you talked about the artificial intelligence. We will go into the regulation of artificial intelligence separately. Before that, I would like to call upon Mr. Pushpender, who has extensive experience in the taxation field. And in India, AI should be, or perhaps is being used by the tax system, both in the income tax information management as well as on GST. So I would like Mr. Pushpendra to perhaps share his thoughts about how AI can be used or has been used in the taxation area in India. Then we'll see whether there are any specific issues involved with that. If he has some issues which he has spotted, he can share it with us. Mr. Pushpender.
Good afternoon, dear Mr. Neve, Principal KLE College, Dr. Bhandari. Thanks for having me, and learned members on the dais, and all the students and participants. Very good afternoon. I was planning to have this session in person. Somehow I couldn't make it, but we'll do it in some time in future. Yes, so very pertinent topic Mr. Neve has put up, and AI is something which is impacting each one of us. Uh, in our daily realm, that we have to deal with it. It's not new and it's not confined to only taxation. Just give me a moment, please. Yeah. So my kid was just troubling me a little. being Sunday, so they have their own. Yes, my apologies for this. So I was just saying it's a very pertinent topic of AI, and I'll just keep it very simple. Being taxation a little technical and tricky thing, but I just want to draw an analogy that we used to file our income tax return or our tax returns in paper form, or we would queue up before the tax department for various filings. But now, ever since, we are right now having pre-filled tax returns in income tax portal. Similar to that, GST returns also pre-filled. So a lot of information which is being culminated at various sources, your financial transactions through banking channel, through mutual fund, through other host of regulatory agencies, they are under obligation to report it to the tax authorities. Now your information is being processed and shared backend, and it is very much available linked to your Aadhaar and PAN. So you get a lot of information pre-processed at the departmental level. You got to just verify it. So just imagine the kind of AI and kind of algorithm and data processing or transformation of technology, etc., is taking place. And it is not just the it is not just it is going far. Nowadays, department, let's say, I'll just draw a very simple example. We are having a lot of unorganized businesses or very small and tiny businesses which are doing businesses through e-commerce giant, say Amazon, say Swiggy, Zomato, and so on. They are so small that they are not required to take registrations under various taxation laws, maybe GST, let's say 20 lakh rupees threshold for someone to get registered, or even for income tax also they are not liable to pay because they believe they are not having the taxable income beyond a particular threshold. But how law is working out, law is giving obligation to those big giant who are e-commerce or companies to take those transactions on their behest. So give you a simple example. If a small restaurant service provider is selling his food to you through Swiggy or Zomato, Swiggy and Zomato are under an obligation to raise an invoice on his behest to make sure that the transaction is in black and white, it is well reported to the government, and tomorrow that small or tiny vendor even cannot escape the liability of his tax liability. So things are very much pretty connected. They are talking to each other, and AI is the future. That is the part of AI. And just I want to add what I heard from Sakshar and other participants. I think it is time for us to get awakened and go back to basics. Why I'm saying so? The technology or misuse of the technology will continue to occur. How we have to put a check on it is something that we need to ponder over. For example, financial transactions we carry out through electronic means. How we make sure that they are genuine, or verify them through digital signature or through some other technology. Maybe a blockchain technology can be very helpful. We have to think aloud on those directions while going back to basics to understand what kind of transactions and what kind of misuses can be taking place. We have to think aloud to put in place the kind of mechanism to make sure those are discouraged. Aman mentioned about the voice cloning, the image cloning. I think we should have some system in place where the person being highlighted or the person being morphed or being voice cloned should be reaffirming the statement. Till then, it should not be accepted. So I think we have to think in those directions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I will now go to Mr. Raghu. Mr. Raghu has extensive experience in the use of AI in the health segment. Now, Mr. Pushpender made a mention about a chain of, say, collection of data from small suppliers to Zomato, and whether the intermediary like Zomato or Swiggy can assist the taxation authorities with some information, something of that nature. Now, I would like Mr. Raghu to reflect on what happens in the health segment, where there are, let us say, there is an application and the application collects certain information from the patient, and the patient's information is collected first by the doctor, and the doctor himself is in some cases employee of an organization. Some cases he is not even an employee of an organization. He just comes to a particular nursing home, conducts surgery. Okay, so we may not have employer-employee relationship. We have a consultant to say medical facility relationship between the doctor, but the data is that of the patient, and the data is collected by instruments which carry AI. And some of the information which it collects could be the iris pattern, which is a sensitive personal identity aspect, and it goes further into the processing of the AI, owner. Okay, I suppose this describes the chain of events. Now, in such a case, if we look at the privacy requirements of the patient, how does this system of a patient handing over information to his doctor, and of course, patient sometimes doesn't even know that his information is going to the doctor, but that is different, because the purpose for which a patient approaches the doctor is for some cure. And it is a doctor who says, I will have to take a scan. Okay, it may be eye scan or whatever is that. The patient doesn't know that this scan has got a personal identity element. So the purpose for which he approaches the doctor is different. Whether the doctor tells him that I am going to collect this information for some purpose as a data fiduciary, we do not know. Then it passes hands of a couple of commercial entities. In such a situation, how does the privacy of the patient protected is the question which I have to Mr. Raghu.
Good afternoon, everybody. So this is one of the important aspects of data anonymization and privacy, which most of the corporates employ before they collect the patient data. So typically, when a patient walks in a clinic, so he ends up giving this information knowingly or unknowingly, and at times it is made aware to the patient to reveal all this information for bookkeeping and record keeping purpose. But eventually it translates to the patient date of birth, age, demographic characteristics, and also it is marked in the images as well. Like, for example, we scan the patient and also perform certain lab investigations on the patient, for example, using the blood samples or his heart rate or vitals and so on. So for a typical AI system to function in an efficient way, it needs data. So the data could not only be the image data, but also the data that involves certain investigative reports. So in this process, there are lot of chances that the patient information is also captured and it is made available in public domain, so which is unlawful under the patient law circumstances. What the company or the authorities which develop AI or get into the active AI development should ensure is, whenever I collect a patient data from my partner or from my clinical site, I, as a diligent authority, should make sure that I anonymize the information, be it the patient name, the age, any marks or any sort of information that reveals the patient identity. It could be birthmarks, it could be identification marks on the body, which would eventually lead to the patient. So having said this, whenever a clinical treatment therapy is planned, the doctor obviously needs all this information. But whenever a corporate is planning to capture this information, so the hospital authorities and also the corporate sector need to be aware that such a information capture display could lead to legal consequences. So there is a pressing need to anonymize the data, anonymize the information, and make sure the patient privacy is protected under the legal terms and conditions. And it is on the onus of both the hospital and also the AI development fraternity to ensure that these data sets are anonymized before it is used for active AI development. But unfortunately, in some cases, this may not happen judiciously. Most of the patient data gets leaked, and there are cases where active cases have been filed against the competent hospitals and also the AI development companies that the patient data, which is considered to be very sensitive, is being utilized to model the patient behavior. So there are startups who now have eventually tied with hospital authorities to gather the patient data, but knowingly or unknowingly, they capture the patient information as well to understand the characteristics of patient. Like any data is now a hands-on gold to the companies. So during this run, what is exactly required is the efficient usage of AI model, which represents the true benefit to the patient and also the clinical fraternity. But unfortunately, it is going the other way around, where the companies are more interested in tracking the behavior of the patient. What is the underlying illness of the patient, why he has visited the hospital, what sort of illness he had earlier, what is the family history, and so on. So by gaining access to this information, the startup companies have tried to build a model which would eventually help the pharma companies propagate or market their drug in such a way that the patient is bound to use the drug without any hesitation. So that is where negative marketing is going on, which needs to be stopped. And also the patient's data set needs to be anonymized. So these new vendors who are coming into market and misuse the data could be avoided at a large extent. So as a corporate sector, what we do is we take utmost care to make sure that patient data, PHI related information is properly de-identified, and we make sure that there is no patient marks or identification strategy that is still present or prevalent in the data set before it is used for active AI development.
Thank you. I will now go back to Amit Dubey. Now, Raghu has pointed out, of course, the risk of data leak happening when data such as this health data is transmitted. And he also suggested that anonymization can be used as a method of mitigating the risk. So I would like Mr. Amit to speak about what is anonymization, how is it different from de-identification, and whether anonymization of iris data is good enough to consider as not identifiable with an individual. So these three things, Mr. Amit.
So if you allow me, I would like to show something on screen, and I'm assuming this laptop is connected with the internet. Okay.
Now this is
that is. Yeah, I will show.
You will just show that.
Just a second, and people will be surprised that what all we are talking.
Then you have to share the screen and then.
No, I'll do. Just give me a space. I think you have to allow me to share the screen. I need the browser. Okay, just browser. That's it. Thank you. So I'm just opening here the place from where we normally install the application, Google Play Store. Can you all see here on my screen?
Yeah.
And the way I'm just showing you that if you're installing any application in your phone, what all information or data they collect normally from your device, you can check through this process. So you have to, for example, Facebook. Normally we all have Facebook, so I'm going with Facebook, but you can use the same process for any other application. Go down and you will see an option called See Details. Click on this, and then you can see what all data Facebook has been capturing from your device without your permission, in a way, because you don't know that this data has been there. So they know your location, approximate location, and precise location. I'm showing this data because this is not anonymized. This is actually named data. So they have mapped exactly with your name and identification. Location, GPS, cell ID, IP address, name, email address, user ID, address. This is your physical address. If you're living at 17th floor in a building, they know that you are living at 17th floor or 14th floor. So it's not GPS location. It is actually your address. If you change your address, before it gets updated on Aadhaar card, Facebook updates it. This is the way they are working. They are so quick. Then phone number, then political or religious belief. They know that to whom you voted last time. This can't be anonymized. This is name data. Because they want to know about your psychology, to whom you are voting and your political ideologies. Religious belief, how hard, soft, liberal are you about your religion? Sexual orientation, and this is not male, female. This is about LGBTQ+. They know to that extent about your mind. And they know even if you are not active on Facebook. The Facebook application itself is capable to do all these things, even if you're not active on Facebook. Financial information, we were discussing about healthcare data, health and fitness records, all your cash withdrawal, or your online payment, UPI payment, anything, they know it. Messages, email, SMS, MMS, and other in-app messages. It's not only about Facebook message, any other application if you are using and exchanging messages, they know about it. Photos, videos, audio, sound recordings. Most of the government officers, they record their calls. All these recordings are going to Facebook. Files and docs, anything which you are downloading through WhatsApp or emails is shared with Facebook. Calendar, contacts, all your contacts. App interactions, how many applications you have in your phone. What do you do with those apps? What do you search in those apps? What you create through those apps? Web browsing history. Keeps going on, and you will be surprised. You can make it normal. And I have just shown you about Facebook. You can search about any other application, Twitter, Discord, or Instagram. Instagram takes more data than Facebook. And then we are talking about anonymization. Of what? The data which these hospitals are taking. Forget it. Our sensitive data is already there out. And if that gets breached, we'll be more in danger than this data. If our political ideologies are getting breached, we are more in danger than any other this kind of data. So I think we need to consider the sincerity of the data privacy also. We have been providing this data since last many years to all these US companies. And this data is not in India. This is not localized. Even after DBDP, it is not localized. It is there only. And we have restricted access to this data. And why are they taking this data? Do they want to sell you sabun, tel, or gadi? No. This they can do without this data as well. So what is the objective of this data? Why are they interested in your political ideology or your sexual orientation or your health data? Why? Think about it. Because you are going to fight for people's privacy later. And you need to understand this data is capable to manipulate you. Because they want to manipulate your mind. They want to make you puppet. And that's possible with AI. If I know so much information about you, because we are the product of the data. We are the product of the data, which has been fed to us since our birth. If I would have been born in Romania instead of UP, I would have become a different person altogether, speaking different language, wearing different clothes, eating different food, and defending all through my life that I'm a proud Romanian. And then after 50 years, somebody asked me that, oh, you are an Indian. I would be confused. This is what's happening with us. We are the product of the data, and this data is mostly manipulated to manipulate your mind. And that's why these companies, whether it is Facebook, Google, Microsoft, any company, they are consuming so much data because they want to control humans eventually through AI. That is their purpose, and that they are doing already. Subtle tarike se already ho raha hai. We don't realize it. Today, if you search on Google that you want to purchase a car, somebody somewhere around the world, they decide that, okay, isko ye wali car bech deta. Because they know your purchase power, they know your requirement, they know your need, they know what could be in your mind, and then they suggest a particular car, and then whatever blogs you see, whatever comparison sheet you see, whatever videos you see, they will push you to a particular product. And eventually, after 2 weeks of research, you will say, oh, I'm going to purchase this car because I have all the justifications. I have valid reasons, and you will defend it. And you will purchase it. And when you will purchase it, this guy will be laughing somewhere. Kal isko joote bechta hu, bahut smart ban raha. This is what's happening with us every day. What we watch on OTT, which picture are we going to watch, or which restaurant are we going to visit, where we are going to, everything is based on data. मैं आज आपको एक मॉरिशस के बारे में पुश करना शुरू करूं, आप 6-8 महीने 1 साल बाद डिसाइड कर ही लोगे यार मॉरिशस चलते हैं. It's all about data. So I think the concern of Mr. Navi is very valid, whether it is healthcare or any other data. But my concern is beyond that, because we are restricting our data which is in India. We can regulate that, but data which is already out of India, which is much more sensitive, we need to discuss about that as well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Amit, of course, Amit has effectively, sold the idea with all of us that DPDPA is going to be useless. Okay. But the fact is, so far, we had ITA 2000 for 23 years. And from 2011 onwards, it had section 43 capital A. Nobody actually made use of the law to exercise any control on data. Okay. And now we have DPDPA, and it imposes certain responsibilities on data fiduciaries such as Meta, and it has certain penalty system. Of course, Meta, in fact, when GDPR was enacted, the first day, complaint was made on Meta. After 2-3 years, it resulted in certain changes through the court. So in India, it is the responsibility of data principals as well as any interested citizens to start making complaints on Meta or anybody else. Let us see at least 250 crores fine is made on them. As citizens, I feel it is our duty to bring this to the notice of the Data Protection Board as and when it comes into being. In fact, many people, of course, I just take a minute to divert here. Many people say DPDPA, data principal will make a complaint and 250 crores is appropriated by the government as fine. What do I get? So what we have done in FDPPI is we have introduced a scheme of rewarding data principals who are whistleblowers and making complaints to the DPB. We hope that it will encourage public, like what Amit showed here. Definitely it will not pass DPDPA. Collecting information which is not connected with the functions of Facebook will not satisfy the law, and without much of a problem, you can bring action against Meta, and that is what most of you should think of doing, like Max Schrems, who brought cases against Meta and Google. You also have to do it. That is something which all of us can contribute towards better privacy in future. Okay, whether it will ensure that there will be no data theft by these companies, we do not know, but at least it is a step in that direction. Okay, let us keep that aside. And when we talk of Meta, I am reminded of a recent incident where an employee of Meta was dismissed from service because I think he was a person who said that a certain VR instrument, you know, this virtual reality headgear which we have, can be manipulated, like what he's saying, manipulation of the decision making through suggestive information flow. Here, the VR sits on your head, very close to your brain, and there's electronic radiation coming from this, and human brain works on electronic system of a different kind. And this person suggested that we can see that the VR headgear can emit certain frequency data which could even kill the person. Like, use this VR headgear as a gun placed near the skull and give some data input, sudden burst of energy which could kill the person. Many people say this was only hypothetical. It is not possible. But creating confusion is definitely possible, but because there has been instances where people have caused epilepsy attacks by just showing some screenshots. So it is possible, and that person was actually removed. And in this context, we will get into the metaverse area, because when we talk of VR headgear, we are actually talking of an immersive experience of taking a person to a level where he forgets the environment and gets himself completely immersed in the metaverse, so that he instantly falls into a cyber hypnotic state, much more than what Blue Whale game could create over a period of 90 days or something like that. Now, therefore, metaverse as a technology, is it something like an entertainment which is creating the different kind of experience, or is it creating an instrument of controlling the behavior of a person, is the question. If Amana is there, I would like to call him to give his views, because this is a generic thing, not necessarily related to Indian law. So we are talking of the status of metaverse, whether metaverse, particularly VR with head instrument and other things, can be considered as an instrument of taking over the mind of a human being. Okay, please give your views.
Okay, sir, you have given a very wonderful background. I must say it's a wonderful background you have given. And the original concept of the metaverse is that you will have a digital world, just like the way the world is now, where people can go, have their land, allocate themselves portions, and then, you know, have an immersive experience where they would be able to leave the world here, go online, and live their lives. That's the idea of the metaverse. Also, there are hypothetical ideologies that the metaverse can be used, for instance, to hold office meetings. Just for instance, the way we're holding this conference here, the metaverse, the original intendment or the goodwill intendment of the metaverse is, instead of burning your data and trying to appear the way you are appearing right now, you can go on the metaverse and have a meeting with your avatar. So the backside to the whole thing, though, why it's funny to me again is we know that when you look at major corporations, major companies that deal with all these things, as much as they are trying to do good in the world, as much as they're trying to advance technology, as much as they're trying to say, oh, we want to create an immersive experience, there is something to take for them. When they give you with the right hand, they take it with the left hand. And as hopeful as we are, the truth is the metaverse will be used as a tool of control. That's it. It will be used as a tool of control. Control, because just as the other speaker, I think Dr. Amit mentioned, he mentioned how data is being used to control people. Part of what we look at when we look at data protection, and as a tech journalist covering data protection, part of what we look at is, to what extent do people know that their data is being used to control them? The same way he mentioned earlier, the truth is, if now you want to buy a car, you get to discover that when you put that search on Google, every other place you go, if you leave Google, you go to Twitter. If you leave Twitter, you go to Facebook. You see push adverts, you see push notifications that tell you to buy this car. So the whole idea, even of the metaverse, is let's get data from these people that we can use to control these people. Another place I will not blame these corporations and companies is they give you constructive notice when they give you the terms and conditions. The law says that when you're given terms and conditions, you're given constructive notice. When you are given privacy policy, you are given constructive notice in the sense that you are to read all of this, understand the import, and choose to use the service or not. A lot of people don't read terms and conditions. And so the moment you get to, oh, I want to join Facebook, I want to join the Metaverse, they just go there, they just see the terms and conditions, click agree, and they go. But in truth and reality, as much as you want to join a particular service or a particular application, when you read the terms and conditions, you will know how to apply your data on such application. So the Metaverse, as much as it's a good tool to use for the future, I believe we should have strong regulations and people should be sensitized well enough on what data they can use and what data they should not use in the Metaverse. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now go to Pushpender. See, when we talk of Metaverse, we are immediately reminded of, Mr. Pushpender is there? We are reminded of sites like secondlife.com. I think Mana was referring to such sites where you can take an avatar, go there, do some commercial transactions. And through the commercial transactions within the Metaverse area, generate revenue. Okay. And this particular secondlife.com provided a currency called Linden. Okay. Like many games. And one feature of this Linden is Linden was reconvertible into dollars. That is, I can earn Lindens on the Metaverse, convert it into dollars. More like a gaming platform where I make money in the game, that is more than what I invest, and then take it back in legit currency. Now, in India, recently we came up with the gaming, say, intermediary guidelines, because I feel you can validate me or refute my thinking that these gaming platforms can be used to park black money and then perhaps keep it there as long as you want and then convert it back. And this Metaverse platforms of today, many of them have these currencies. Many of those currencies are cryptocurrencies, and cryptocurrencies of the platform is convertible into bitcoins, and bitcoins anyway is somewhere connected with the legacy currency. So does this Metaverse websites like secondlife.com, there are hundreds of such sites perhaps now, and the gaming websites, do you think they have a threat for taxation purposes in terms of money laundering? What is your thought process?
Thank you, Mr. Neil. First of all, I would say that's very, very interesting and great question, which you put forth for the audience and participants. This is actually a ongoing cause of concern for most of the revenue authorities across the globe, because digital is not a local phenomenon; it's a global phenomenon where boundaries have blurred. We do not have that physical brick and mortar kind of boundaries where people are crossing, they are leaving their trade, and we can easily count on how much, for how long, and for what activity they state. Now we are in blurred but one common world. Having said that, yes, this is a possible area where people can do some hanky-panky stuff, and that's where government across the globe, they are really on their toes and putting together a lot of checks and balances, though unilaterally, because a lot of work is being carried out by OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, along with G20 countries at the global level, to make sure that how digital economy can be controlled and can be regulated in terms of uh, how to tax the transaction in terms of profitability, not the gross transaction. So that is already a work in progress, and it is at advanced stage with the pillar 1, pillar 2, solution which is being put together, and a lot of countries are in consultation with, so that it can be imparted into digital domestic laws of various countries and applied across the globe with the common consensus. Now, coming back to your immediate question of uses of various cryptocurrencies, using them into games and parking those monies. India is a pioneer in this. India came up with, not only India came up with taxation of cryptocurrency last year, it also clarified the tax deduction at source provisions for dealing in cryptos. Not only this, India also went ahead and included these online games in the realm of goods and services tax. Earlier on, it was just a question whether it is a game of skill or a game of chance, and therefore, wherever it was a game of skill, it was not subjected to or gambling, etc. But now they clarified, we are not going into the discussion as to whether it is a game of chance or it's a game of skill. We are going to apply tax across the transaction on GST, as well as under the income tax law. All transactions in cryptocurrencies are subjected to tax at the rate of 30%. No losses are allowed. If you carried out some transaction into crypto, no losses of that transaction will be allowed. Only profit earned in crypto will be taxed full 30% rate. That is what the way government is discouraging. It is not encouraging, it is discouraging. But it was hitherto silent as to how to tax these transactions which are carried out in crypto. People would think a crypto is more close to a currency. Currency shouldn't be taxed, but if it is a currency, it has to be accepted by the sovereign, which hasn't been. So it's a kind of goods, and when goods are traded, it could be a business income, it could be a capital gain. So that's how people were treating it as per their whims and fancies. But now it's a law in India as per Income Tax Act 1961 that all crypto transactions will be subjected to tax at the rate of 30%. Even transactions at crypto in crypto exchanges, they'll be subjected to TDS at the rate of 1% exceeding 10,000 rupees. Moreover, they have gone to the depth that even if it is being carried out in some foreign currency, then you have an obligation on the person who is in dealing with crypto exchange or those facilitating these transactions as intermediaries to convert the transaction at the day end on the applicable convertible rates and do the tax reduction and pay it to the government treasury. So that kind of underlying thought process, amendment in law, curiosity, while crypto is not a legalized tender, illegal tender, but they also have not legalized it. Nonetheless, taxation is clarified. Full 30% tax, no deduction, no losses of crypto will be allowed in your normal income. Only income from crypto will be taxed. Tax reduction will be fully applied. You have to make disclosure of all those transactions, so on and so forth, to make sure no money laundering, no undisclosed transactions take place. So these kind of checks and balances are already by the government of India in place and part of Indian Income Tax Act. I'm sure other part of the countries, they are also vigil and they are coming together and putting up some unilateral measures, because unless we reach to a consensus on global common acceptance modes, these will continue. And that's where I think pillar 1, pillar 2 is going to play a good role. It's a complete big sea, how different countries, how different sovereigns are making sure they're intact their tax pie.
Thank
And
you.
this is this is an area close to my heart, and I'm working on book also on digital economy, so I'm just going little length and breadth.
Very good. Thank you. I'm sure that the information which you have given is of interest to all the youngsters who sometimes get sucked by the Bitcoin bug. Okay. I'm sure that all our KLE students are highly ethical students and they will never touch Bitcoins because they know that the origin of Bitcoin comes from the Silk Route. Okay. And even today, perhaps most of the Bitcoins which are in circulation are not those which are mined by another respectable person. It is something transferred from hand to hand. And our students are also aware that if you look at Bitcoin as a property, I'm saying that you are all aware. So if you are not aware, please take note. Okay. Bitcoin is a property, digital property. It can only be transferred with the defects in the title of the previous transferor. It is not a negotiable instrument. Therefore, if one Bitcoin which I am acquiring today has once been used in some drug transaction or money laundering, I have a tainted Bitcoin with me. And therefore, I don't get good title. So therefore, there is no way you can go into a Bitcoin exchange and buy a Bitcoin and then feel that you have paid your hard-earned money. You have even paid tax, GST and other things. So therefore, you are a owner, legitimate owner of this property called Bitcoin or an NFT. Law does not permit it. So I'm sure that none of you are in that kind of a thing. Okay, we'll leave that there. We will go to something which is purely technical. Okay, the quantum computing, which is another frontier technology which is changing the concepts which we know. Okay, from whatever we are doing, which we call as classical computing, and quantum computing is coming. What is the major difference between these two? In classical computing, data is stored as zeros and ones. There is a bit of my hard disk or some kind of a magnetic surface, which is either having a value of 0 or having a value of 1. But that is definite. You can say bit number so-and-so has a value of 0 or has a value of 1. Quantum computing works on what is called qubits. These qubits do not have a fixed value of zeros and ones. It can have a probabilistic value between 0 and 1. Now, if you want to represent data, which tomorrow has to go to a court of law, where you say this data means this, if the data holding bit, you cannot say whether it is 0 or 1, it can be either, it can be 20% 0, it can be 30% 1. How will you convince a judge that this is data? Is a legal question. Okay, it is in my mind. Let me see what our technology experts say. Mr. Raghu, did you get the point which I am making? I am trying to mix the technology with the legal evidential issue. Yeah. Both have gone.
Hello.
Yeah.
So in quantum computing, the mapping is in quantum computing, the main idea is to map the bits into the appropriate probabilistic data. So here, the gold standard or the truth that we have in front of us is each bit represents value significance of certain entities that has been processed. So it could be the information of how a data was morphed, that is given a bit sequence or a bit place in the qubits location. And it also boils down to, like, for example, if you are doing some sort of a transformation on the image or on the data set or on the values that you have obtained, each transformation is given a unique bit or a place in terms of qubits. So all this put together have something known as a lookup table mechanism. So these lookup table are nothing but the entries which are stored in a virtual memory space, which will help you reconstruct the data from which the originality of the information exists, and also point out how many such transformations, processing, and morphology has been done on that data set. So eventually what you will do is you will have something known as a mediator service in quantum computers, which will be either in edge, on-prem, or on cloud, it will help you to understand what is the pipeline that data processing has been undergone. So what was the original data, what was changed, what was renamed, and where it was stored. So once this happens, I mean, you also have an active bookkeeping mechanism where you eventually can track the data, where it has reached and who is using it, and what is the end user or the end goal that has been morphed together. So now, if there are multiple use cases, like for example, if there are multiple users who are working on the same data, it also copies a new version, like user 1 is given a unique identification number, so as user 2 and user 3. So wherever the user 1 performs certain operations, the unique identification number gets tagged to all those operations. So eventually you will have those data in your disposal. So where you can track that this is the user who has processed this data, and the processed data is stored in so and so qubits, so that you will have full data download or some sort of a data export, which you can do it here to understand what sort of statistical relevance this has in terms of probability density function and cumulative distribution. So how many such samples has been processed? So let us say if you want to prove to somebody that this is the data I got and these are the transformations I have done, I have the whole report at my disposal. So if you are arguing a legal case, so you could distribute this sort of a analysis to the arguing authority, or make sure that you give this sort of results. So you can always have a clear overview of the data set that has been acquired, transferred, and processed. So you will have the ability to trace down and also prove that this is something which is done as an internal operation, and these are the different processing blocks that was used to arrive at the end result. So this is how you prove to the competent authority.
Yeah, thank you. Our legal friends, of course, would have been at least able to perceive that this is so complex. It is very difficult to understand. Okay. But what I want to ask all of you is, what he said in summary is that there is a way by which you can prove that it went through a certain process. Fine. Okay. Do you think our current laws are capable of handling such an evidence and convince a current judicial authority? Quickly, anybody who thinks it's possible, or anybody who thinks it is not possible, raise your hands. You have all had experience of judiciary. Okay, if there is a document which is stored in qubits, our technologist confirms, yes, there is a way of proving it. Fine. Now can you take this argument and go to the court and convince him under our existing law? Do you think it's possible?
The challenge futuristic lawyers.
No, you have to take a view, either yes or no. You are in a cross-examination situation. Do you think it is possible? Yes or no? That's all. You tell me one answer. Possible? Not possible. How many not possible? Have you heard of Section 65B, Indian Evidence Act? Section 65B of Indian Evidence Act. What does it say? Any electronic document will be admissible in a court of law provided a person gives a certificate that when he looked at the document with a certain process, he came to a particular end document. That end document is printed out and he certifies that this is the document which I certify under Section 65B. Now, the process behind that may be simple or may be complicated. It may be a simple website. I have gone to www something, printed out the page, and my 65B certificate simply says, I used a browser, went to www so-and-so, something appeared on the screen, I gave a print screen command, I got this. Simple. But there are other kind of situations where you might have undeleted or deleted data forensically, or like what he described in a quantum kind of a thing. But if you capture that, each of that process in your Section 65B statement, and then say, after all these processes, I got this particular document. You have something which is admissible in a court of law. Now tell me, 2000, ITA 2000, drafted in the year 1998, does it not have the power to take on the current technology without DIA? Is a question you can answer. Okay. We have got very little time, so we will go into another interesting topic which I would like to discuss, which is, we have discussed AI quite much, and we have also discussed about robotics. Now, I am looking at a new phenomena of cyborgs. See, robots is a metallic body. You put a particular AI software inside it, you have a humanoid robot, okay? It can teach law. Law teachers can very well say that tomorrow, if today people say that AI can replace a judge, AI can replace a arguing counsel. So much before that, AI can replace a law teacher. After all, what do we do in law teaching? We have a syllabus, we have a set of 10 cases, and we try to teach the principles of the 10 cases. We don't invent anything. Okay, so an AI robot can very well do the teaching. So please be aware that this is a possibility in the coming days. So, okay, that is one category. But there is another category of cyborgs. What is cyborgs? He is a human, but his physical faculties are enhanced by a computer system. A very simple thing which all of us can understand is, there is a certain kind of hearing problem which can be countered by implanting a chip inside the skull. You are all aware of that. Okay. So hearing problem is solved. How? Because of the chip which collects the vibrations of the eardrum, translates it to the brain. There is one gentleman who has used a camera, fixed the camera to his skull. Okay, from the skull, an antenna kind of a thing comes. His picture is available. You can see. Why he has fixed it? Because he is a colorblind person. That is, his eyes cannot perceive color because that particular thing is not available. Now, so this camera collects the colors, picture, and directly feeds into his brain. And he is going around with that permanent fixature. Okay. This is an example of how people enhance. Now, if you carry it further, you can put a chip in which the entire Google encyclopedia can be there. The entire science and law, everything can be there. Nobody will even know. Particularly if you are a lady, you can put a cover of your hair and nobody will even know, even if it is outside the skull. Okay. So those are the human beings who have enhanced their capability with the computers. And just as you have external interface to medical devices, implants, you can have an external interface directly to the brain also. These are some of the developments which are happening, partly neuroscience, partly AI. See, neuroscience may do a small thing, that is, it puts a chip so that your Alzheimer's is cured. But if the same chip is Wi-Fi connected and has a software of AI, you are creating a human being as intelligent as a computer in terms of computing powers. You are creating superhumans. Are we ready for a society of superhumans on the one side and humanoid robots on the other side? Where do we stand? We human beings are neither as powerful as the humanoid robots, nor as intelligent as the cyborgs. Our race of pure humans have no place in the future. Am I correct? This is the reason why there is an urgent need for AI regulation. Okay. What it can do, what it should not do. It is capable of doing, we know. You have seen ChatGPT itself going rogue. If ChatGPT can go rogue, why can't a humanoid robot go rogue? There are many instances which are reported on the web, whether true or not, I don't know. A collection of that you can find in navi.org, where in a Japanese lab, some robots went on firing, and it was a laboratory where soldiers were being developed, humanoid, robotic soldiers were being developed. It is supposed that they have killed a number of people. Whether it is true or not, we do not know. But those are the stories which could happen not only in the movies, but in actual practice. This is the reason why AI regulation should be there before technology is there. I don't take the argument that law is like the traditional wife who is 10 steps behind. All these things are olden day teaching. Okay. Today's women don't walk 10 steps behind, is it not? Either they are in front or on par. So likewise, today's laws have to keep pace with technology. Don't go by the old concept that it is okay for technology to advance and for me to come with the law next year. That is not acceptable, because next year you may not exist. The technology will see that you don't exist to even make the law. So you somehow pull back the technology and tell, please wait, I will come along with you. If my speed is slow, you also have to slow down. This is the regulation which we need to have in these coming days. Okay, and I would like all legal people to work on that. We have come to the end of our allocated time, because the next judicial person also is there. So I would like to actually close this discussion here. We have, of course, tried to open out several thoughts how technological developments are creating certain kinds of which are actually ethico-legal issues, and hope you will all try to study it further. My special thanks to people who are online, Pushpender and Alkali Amana. I think we should have other opportunities to discuss with you. And definitely we will have more focused discussion on your areas of expertise. I could have asked Amana about fake news creation, whether journalists are relevant and other things with AI. But anyway, that is for another day. I also thank Mr. Amit Dubey and Raghu Prasad and all of you for having patiently listened to us. And I hope the session was of use to you. Thank you. Yeah.
I also thank you, sir, respected chair, resource person, and all the students present. I stand here today with immense gratitude to deliver a vote of thanks for an insightful discussion. On behalf of Kelly Law College, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the esteemed panelists present with us and online for attending the discussion and sharing with us their words of wisdom. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
as the journey of 1,000 miles is ahead of us. I'm Simran Syed, your host for the day. Before we move any forward, I would like to call Mr. Sagar and Mr. Tejas to invoke the Almighty's blessings with their melody.
ಪ್ರಿಯ ಹೇ ಗಣಪ ಓಂಕಾರನಾದ ಪ್ರಿಯ ಹೇ ಗಣಪ ಸಾಕಾರ ವಂದನೆ ಹೇ ಗಣಪ ಓಂಕಾರನಾದ ಪ್ರಿಯ ಹೇ ಗಣಪ ಸಾಕಾರ ವಂದನೆ ಹೇ ಗಣಪ ಧಿಮಿ 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 ನಾಟ್ಯ ಸ್ವರೂಪ ನಿನಗಿದು ಅರ್ಪಣೆ ಭಕ್ತಿಯ ಧೂಪ ಹೇ ಪ್ರಭು ನಿನಗಿದೋ ನಮ್ಮ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಹೇ ಪ್ರಭು ನಿನಗಿದೋ ನಮ್ಮ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಓಂಕಾರನಾದ ಪ್ರಿಯ ಹೇ ಗಣಪ ಸಾಕಾರ ವಂದನೆ ಹೇ ಗಣಪ ಅಗುಮೊಗದಿಂದ ಜಗವನು ನೋಡುತ್ತ ಮಂದಹಾಸದಲ್ಲಿ ಕುಳಿತಿಹ ದೇವ ಅಭಯ ಹಸ್ತವ ನೀಡಿ ಚೈತನ್ಯ ನೀಡುವ ಭವ್ಯ ಮೂರುತಿ ಹೇ ಗಣನಾಥ ಧಿಮಿ 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 ನಾಟ್ಯ ಸ್ವರೂಪ ನಿನಗಿದು ಅರ್ಪಣೆ ಭಕ್ತಿಯ ಧೂಪ ಹೇ ಪ್ರಭು ನಿನಗಿದೋ ನಮ್ಮ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಹೇ ಪ್ರಭು ನಿಮಗಿದೋ ನಮ್ಮ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಓಂಕಾರನಾದ ಪ್ರಿಯ ಹೇ ಗಣಪ ಸಾಕಾರ ವಂದನೆ ಗಣಪ
Thank you so much, Mr. Vijay and Mr. Tejas. Now I take immense pleasure in inviting Professor Dr. J.M. Mallikarjunaya, Dean Faculty of Law, Principal, KLE Law College, Bengaluru, to welcome today's gathering.
Honorable dignitaries and of the days, and the distinguished resource persons delegate for the Valedictory program. 2 days international conference on ethico-legal dimensions of advanced technologies, a pathway to responsible innovation, has begun with the inaugural program where Justice Shivshankara Gowda sir did take us through the challenges that are ahead and the discussions this conference is intended to be taken through. For 2 days, through 3 plenary sessions, 2 technical sessions, and through a panel discussion which we just concluded. The discussions and deliberations have happened, and we are all now, we have just opened our eyes. Though we may not claim a big achievement in this, and we have only touched the tip of the iceberg, but I believe it's a certain attempt in understanding that Information Technology Act, which is being reviewed, and the Digital India Act, which is being spoken about. DPDP Act, which is coming around, has to be kept in mind, and in light of that legal framework, ethical considerations and the legal dimensions of the problems that the technology is plaguing us has to be viewed is the learning, I believe. Well, at this concluding ceremony, I take the opportunity to welcome the guests and the gathering on behalf of KLE Law College and also on behalf of the Galter organization. At the outset, I take this opportunity to extend a very hearty welcome to Honorable Mr. Justice Suraj Govindraj, Judge High Court of Karnataka. A warm welcome to you, sir. And may I now request my colleague, Dr. Mahesh R.S., to present a bouquet and a memento as a token of respect. To His Lordship, Justice Suraj Govindraj. Thank you, sir. This conference being the international one, and though we could really make it global, we could not have all international guests in the physical mode. We had a lot of guests on the virtual mode. For this session too, we have Dr. Pawan Dugal, the Advocate, Supreme Court of India, and Professor Dr. Nistha Jashwal, Vice Chancellor, Himachal Pradesh National Law University, Shimla. Madam and sir, I extend you a very warm welcome to this gathering and the valedictory program. Welcome to you. I now take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Amit Dubey, the Advisor, Cybersecurity Economic Council of India. A very hearty welcome to you, Amit Dubeji. And may I now request Ms. Jayant Kashyap to present a sapling and a memento as a token of respect. Thank you, sir. I also take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Na Vijay Shankar, who was association with KLE Law College, goes for 25 years plus. Thus, Na Vijay Shankar is the friend philosopher and guide at KLE Law College, Bengaluru, especially in taking IT law awareness, IT law education initiatives at KLE Law College. A very hearty welcome to you, sir. And may I now request Dr. Madhusudan to present a sapling and a memento. Thank you. Professor Dr. M.K. Bhandari, Founder Director, Galta. It is his persuasion, initiative, and the valuable guidance that has indeed led to the realization of this international conference. We are all inspired by your initiatives and the kind of support that you brought to us for a period of 4 months when we started this project, rather. A very hearty welcome to you, sir. And may I now request Mr. Dinkar Gite to present a sapling as a token of respect to Professor M.K. Bhandari. Thank you, sir. You will give all the. I won't be able to take it. You will give all the three to me, sir. I will nurture them. Thank you. It will prosper. It does, sir. Thank you. I also take this opportunity to welcome the most distinguished resource persons, delegates, and my dear student friends and my dear colleague friends who have put up this wonderful show. A very hearty welcome to this last session. Thank you. Thank you.
I would like to invite Ms. Ankita Kapoor, Assistant Professor, KLE Law College, Bengaluru, to introduce our distinguished guests.
Good afternoon, everyone. Dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, participants, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed my pleasure to introduce today's guest for the valedictory of the International Conference on the Ethico-Legal Dimensions of Advanced Technologies, a Pathway to Responsible Innovation, organized by KLE Law Academy, KLE Law College, in association with Galter. First and foremost, I would like to introduce Honorable Mr. Justice Suraj Govindraj, sir. He was born on 1973, graduated LLB honors at NLSIU, enrolled as an advocate on 1995. Practiced in the field of civil, commercial litigation, contracts, property law, arbitration, company law, RERA, etc. Appeared before the Honorable Supreme Court of India, almost all high courts in the country, district courts, tribunals, etc. Appointed as additional judge of the High Court of Karnataka and taken oath on 23/9/2019 and permanent judge on 1/3/2021. He is a member of the Phase 3 Committee, Advisory, Implementation and Monitoring Committee, Neutral Citation Committee, and the AI Assisted Translation Committee constituted by Honorable Chief Justice of India. He is a member of the Computer and Technology Committee of the High Court of Karnataka, was instrumental in setting up the Telegram channel, which is used by most of the lawyers in the Karnataka. He is also a member of several other committees, including the Mediation Committee. He is regularly invited by National Judicial Academy Bhopal to speak at Bhopal, as also at the regional judicial conferences. He is also invited by various colleges in and outside Bangalore to deliver lectures on various subjects. He has tremendous interest in sharing knowledge and encouraging lawyers, more particularly young lawyers. We welcome you, sir. Next with us, we have Dr. Pawan Duggal, who has joined us online. Sir is an advocate who is serving at Supreme Court of India, expert in cyber law, cyber security law, AI. He has been acknowledged as one of the top 4 cyber lawyers around the world. Google barred list Dr. Pawan Duggal as the topmost cyber lawyer in the world. He is the founder and chairman of the International Commission on Cyber Security Law. He is also the president of cyberlaws.net and has been working in the pioneering area of cyber law, cybersecurity law, and mobile law. Pawan sir is also heading the Artificial Intelligence Law Hub and Blockchain Law Epicenter. He is the founder cum honorary chancellor of Cyber Law University. Sir is the chief evangelist of Metaverse Law Nucleus, conference director of International Conference on Metaverse and Law, Opportunities and Challenges, and is also the conference director of the International Conference on Cyber Law, Cybercrime, and Cybersecurity, being world's only authoritative conference on cyber law, cybercrime, and cyber security. Sir is in association with International Telecommunications Union, conducted 2 training cum sensitization programs for the elected judges and officers of the International Court of Justice at the Hague, Netherlands on 23rd May 2019. As an internationally renowned cyber law and cybersecurity subject expert, at the world stage during the high-level policy statement delivered by him at the World Summit on Information Society organized by the International Telecommunications Union, UNESCO, UNDP in Geneva, Switzerland from 25th May to 29th May 2015. Sir has recommended the need for coming up with an international convention on cyber law and cyber security. Sir, we extend our hearty welcome to you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Professor Dr. Nishtha Jaiswal. Ma'am has joined us online. She is a Vice Chancellor of Himachal Pradesh National Law University. She has done BA, BL, LLB, LLM, PhD, teaching and has a lot of teaching and research experience. Madam has total 33 years of teaching experience. With that, she has 35 years of teaching research experience, have 56 paper publications to her credit, have written 6 books, and have been a research guide and supervisor to LLM as well as PhD students. With this, Madam also has served administrative and professional at professional spheres. She has served as a chairperson, Department of Laws, Punjab University, served as Dean, Students Welfare, Women, Punjab University, former chairperson, Punjab University Committee Against Sexual Harassment, previously served as Reader-in-Law, Department of Laws, PU Chandigarh, officiated as Dean of University Instructions, DUI, a position next to Vice Chancellor, Punjab University, Chandigarh, and Professor of Law, Department of Laws, PU Chandigarh. Madam has also been awarded Amity Academic Excellence Award 2019, designated as Meher Chand Mahajan Professor of Law by Punjab University, Chandigarh, awarded British Academy Visiting Professorship in 1992, and did research at the School of Oriental and African Studies, University of London. We welcome you, ma'am. We have Mr. Amit Dubey, who is a cybersecurity expert with strong risk management capabilities and has specialization in areas like red teaming, digital forensics, cybercrime investigation, and public policy matters. He has been invited by Indian Parliament to consult parliamentary standing committees on cybersecurity issues. As a cybercrime investigator, he is also a resource person and visiting faculty to National Investigation Agency, CBI, National Police Academy. While working with law enforcement agencies, he has investigated more than 350 cybercrime cases in last 10 years and had trained more than 8,000 police officers. He also runs a special training program for CXO to protect them against increasing cyber attacks and for their individual brand protection. He has been invited by various government bodies like Dubai, Azerbaijan, and Singapore to train their top-level executives, acknowledging his authority on cybersecurity. A prominent speaker and a renowned name on national and international cybersecurity conferences, Amit sir is regularly quoted in Indian print and electronic media on global cyber issues. We extend our hearty welcome to you, sir. With us, we have Mr. Na Vijay Shankar. He is a data protection and data governance consultant, certified independent director, rendered key support in the first conviction under Information Technology Act 2000 and first adjudication of phishing in India. He is a guest visiting faculty in many educational institutions, including Nalsar, National Law University, Bangalore, engaged in training of police in Chennai and other places. He is now working on privacy, data protection, and neuro rights consultancy in India. A warm welcome to you, sir. Last but not the least, we have Professor Dr. M.K. Bhandari with us. He is a founder director, Walter. He is one of the senior most professors of law in India with 45 years of experience in teaching, research, and management of 4 major universities in India. His 85 research-oriented articles and papers have been published in India and overseas journals of repute. His recent article and chapter on digital twins and smart contract have been published in books being published from USA. Bhandari sir is an influential speaker and has delivered close to 1,15,000 lectures, talks, interactive interviews on various fora, universities in India and abroad, social media platforms, TV channels, and University Grant Commission Multimedia Research Center in India. Sir has successfully organized close to 90 national and international conference, seminars, roundtables, symposia, and moot court competitions. He is engrossed with his global team of dedicated and distinguished experts on issues relating to application and regulation of emerging technologies. We welcome you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I invite upon Ms. Payal Das, Assistant Professor, KLE Law College, Bengaluru, to inform us of the progress we've made at this conference by providing us with a report of the events that transpired.
Good afternoon, all present here. The following is the report on the two-day conference held on 18th and 19th of November 2003 at KLE Law College, Bangalore. The college organized an international conference on ethico-legal dimensions of advanced technologies, a pathway of responsible innovation, in association with GALTER, the Global Academy of Law, Tech, Education and Research. The international conference provided a platform for the stakeholders to come together, engage, and evaluate the potential advantages and challenges posed by the sophisticated emerging technologies, namely blockchain, digital assets, virtual currencies, artificial intelligence, generative AI, Metaverse, Web 3.0, and the likes. The conference had more than 26 prominent and Professor E.G. Shivshankaregowda spoke about the growing ethical concern with growing technology and how it might affect the younger generations in the terms of how their data is being processed by different marketing agencies. Guest of honor Shri Venkatesh Murthy K spoke about the challenges of establishing accountability in the increasing AI usage and further emphasized the different concerns like voice cloning, deepfake scams, ransomware, arbitrary image creation, and how one needs to strike a balance between progress and protection. Professor Dr. Andrew Poe spoke about his experience as an educator as to how increasing AI usage like chatbot is curtailing the intellectual creativity of the younger generations. Professor Dr. M.K. Bhandari, founder, GALTER, spoke about the need to insulate ourselves from the risks that are there out in the virtual space. Presidential remarks were given by Professor Dr. Ashok Shettar, where we spoke about how the walls between different disciplines has to be broken. For lawyers can't run without technology and engineering. Students cannot only think about the code and tool, but also need to think about holistically to build technology within an ethical legal framework. The two-day-long event continued with the 3 plenary sessions, 2 technical sessions on the subtopics of the conference, where 26 eminent speakers addressed the gathering as resource persons, while 127 delegates presented their papers on this momentous occasion with a total of 450 participants. The second day of the conference started with initial remarks on artificial intelligence in IPR by chair of the plenary session, third by Dr. Raghu Prasad, followed by valuable lectures on cybersecurity by Mr. Arun Soni, technology cybersecurity trainer, technical writer on enhancing ethical digital privacy in the age of AI and blockchain by Dr. Joshina Rodriguez, advisor of blockchain and member of the Academic Advisory Board of NIA TBA, Portugal, and on generative AI by Mr. Tony Moroni, Program Director for Digital Leadership at IMI Ireland.
This was followed by panel discussion initiated by Professor Dr. M.K. Bhandari and with Mr. Na Vijaya Shankar, Dr. Raghu Prasad, Mr. Pushpendra K. Dikshit, Vice President Taxation, PVR Group, Mr. Alkali Amana, tech journalist, all things Web3, AI and emerging tech, Nigeria, Mr. Sakshar Duggal, Advocate Delhi High Court, Chief Executive of Cybercity U, and Mr. Amit Dubey, where the discussion revolved around AI, data protection, and privacy, and was truly an enriching session. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. It is my great honor to now invite Dr. Pavan Duggal, Advocate, Supreme Court of India, to address the
distinguished dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries on the internet, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we are at a very interesting juncture of history. Why? Because countries want emerging technologies to be regulated. Logically so, because these technological advancements can be misused against national interest. But is it that easy? That's what countries are now beginning to start realizing, that it's no longer an easy walk. You can come up with laws, but how do you actually enforce that these laws are effectively followed by non-human elements? Laws are primarily meant to be in place so as to give a deterrence to humans, not to technology. But if you are now coming up with legal frameworks that are aimed to mandate how technology is going to be regulated, there are some intrinsic problems. These problems is what the world faced over the last 2.5 decades, when different countries sought to start realizing the importance of cyberspace and the need for coming up with enabling legal frameworks to promote e-commerce and electronic governance. So to that extent, the life was still fine. Why? Because the UNCITRAL model law on electronic commerce was good enough for the purposes of regulating the ecosystem while providing an enabling legal framework for e-commerce and electronic governance. There also, you were not regulating technology. You were trying to enable a legal format and the electronic format's legality so that the entire phenomenon of e-commerce can be given a legal kind of a recognition or sanction. But now we have entered into a new world altogether. The day before yesterday, we had the Prime Minister of India stating about a video featuring him where he's singing and at a Garba function, which is never done. Clearly, the latest example of misuse of deepfakes. So whether you are Rashmika Mandana, whether you are Katrina Kaif, whether you are Kajol, you all are now beginning to feel the heat, primarily because the misuse of the deepfake is beginning to hurt you as a celebrity. But then people don't need to take action with glee. Why? Because this technology is now coming right to the level of the common man per se. Today, deepfake tools are available which allow you to make these deepfake audios, videos, image and text over technology, all aimed at cheating people, all aimed at prejudicially impacting the reputation, goodwill, standing and repute of individuals. So recently, one of the clients found it the hard way. The child had to go to school. The child had gone to school, being taken by a school taxi. And an hour later, we had found that both the parents got a call. In fact, the husband got a call where the kidnappers had said that we have already kidnapped your baby child, girl, and you only have 15 minutes to go ahead and pay us an X amount of money. Otherwise, on the 16th minute, we will execute her. The parents refused to believe this and asked for proof. They made them talk to the child. The child was wailing, crying, howling, saying, please save me from these kidnappers who are about to kill me. Well, the clock was ticking the 13th minute. That's the time all negotiations apparently failed, and the couple decided to give that X amount of money to the kidnappers. And after the money was paid by the 14th minute, They were able to again talk to the child. The child was absolutely fine. Child wanted to be taken away home. A location was identified. And lo and behold, while the husband and wife were going to the location, the husband thought, well, it's happened to us. Maybe it can happen to others as well. So let's talk to the school principal and inform him. And then the school principal, when he was called, said, what are you talking? The child is with us from the morning in school. So here was a classical case where deepfake technology was used for defrauding, cheating the legitimate parents of a child who could not even distinguish whether the voice that they were hearing was that of a daughter or was that created by an artificial intelligence algorithm. But these cases are now going to become more and more frequent. Why is this happening? The reason for this is that the golden age of cybercrime has evolved with the coming of COVID-19. And this golden age of cybercrime will be with us for the next many decades. Hence, we have to be now prepared for facing new kinds of AI crimes, deep darknet crimes, deep fake crimes, and newly emerging technology crimes. So it's this context that the leaning of the governments that let's regulate this misuse has a logical basis. But can we go far ahead? That's one big question that the world is asking. That's the reason most of the countries have chosen not to come up with dedicated laws on artificial intelligence, but are only in a wait and watch approach. To be or not to be is what the question, million-dollar question that they're beginning to answer. Well, they're looking at how China has gone ahead and on 15th of August 2023 come up with a new dedicated law on artificial intelligence, including generative artificial intelligence. The world's first law on generative artificial intelligence, which has now stipulated for the first time the rights, duties, and obligations of the generative AI service providers. Now, till now, the service providers are saying, Chief, I have developed this technology, and I don't know how it works. So if a Sam Altman can be thrown out from OpenAI overnight, this is just an example of how things are going to happen. Things will happen at so quick kind of a speed that we would not even know. So in a scenario like this, how do we actually ensure that the technology is ethical and behaves in an ethical manner or standard? And this is an oxymoron in its own self. Why? Because technology does not understand human values. We know our human intelligence. We have this human compassion, karuna, and consequently there too, our human intelligence has got human emotions and factors intrinsically involved therewith, which tells us what is right, what is not right. Again, based on societal norms and standards. But lo and behold, if we are trying to force our ethical norms on machines, on artificial intelligence, how will that actually happen? Well, to give an example, if you take ordinarily about 100 inventors of artificial intelligence algorithms or coders, and you ask them one fundamental question, which is, can you predict how your AI algorithm will work? The chances are that more than 90% of them will say, I created it, but I can't tell you how it will work. Because for the very simple reason, humans still don't know how the cognitive intelligence of machines is going to be evolved. And therefore, the chances of artificial intelligence going rogue are very, very high. Automatically, look at this case of the International Space Station, where this AI program, the astronaut's companion program, started misbehaving with an astronaut after initially behaving properly and even threatening the astronaut to behave properly with the artificial intelligence algorithm. Otherwise, he could face some consequences. Now, in a scenario like this, we've seen numerous cases where AI has gone rogue. And the chances of AI going further rogue is going to be very, very high. Already, AI is in a new zone. We are in an uncharted territory, in a new experiment in one jurisdiction, where in one big laboratory, two separate corners of the laboratory, on two separate machines, two separate AI programs were being experimented upon. And both these machines were not connected to the internet. And very quickly, the scientists found out that both these machines had the AI, which started talking to each other in a language that humans could not understand. So in a scenario like this, it's very important to understand that the chances of AI going rogue is phenomenal. And the need for regulating the misuse of AI is absolutely essential. Number two, it becomes even more important that we should actually have in place the responsibility on coders, because the machines don't have ethical values, but the coders at the time when they code artificial intelligence can deliberately and consciously make effort to incorporate ethical principles, ethical standards, and ethical norms as part of their development process. That could be a good starting point. That's where somehow some countries are begun to start moving ahead. China has now mandated audit of the generative AI programs for the purposes of seeing whether it's actually doing any harm to the public good or public at large. Look at, I pause here and take you to New York, where the New York's new law on artificial intelligence is further mandating that AI must be properly audited for the purposes of ensuring that it does not suffer from bias and discrimination. No wonder in today's world, hallucination is one of the biggest problems of this new technology, where it's constantly going ahead and coming up with hallucinated content. And if we as Indians, we as digital users would tend to totally be reliant upon AI, then that's the beginning of the downfall. Why? Because that's going to potentially expose us to legal consequences. This was found the hard way by two lawyers in the US who relied upon ChatGPT to write their written submissions, which they then filed in a US court. And in that written submission, they had 7 US cases, all generated by AI. Now, when the lawyers looked at the 7 cases and asked for the authenticity, ChatGPT confirmed that these were absolutely accurate. So without further ado and without further due diligence, the lawyers had put this written arguments with 7 cases before the court. And then the court found that it's facing an unprecedented situation, primarily because all the 7 American cases were non-existent. They did not ever take place. There was no such litigation. There were no such parties. And then the court ultimately went ahead and fined the lawyers $5,000 and also asked the lawyers to inform all the 7 judges of whose so-called judgments were created in a very hallucinating manner by ChatGPT. So the thumb rule is, while we are moving forward, we will have to come up with more effective legal frameworks which can enforce the ethical standards in artificial intelligence. And we must have deterrent punishment for coders in the event they don't incorporate these ethical principles as part of the way going forward. You can't say that I have developed artificial intelligence, but I don't know how it works, and I will not go to be liable for what ultimately happens by the use, misuse, or abuse. Well, the typical argument given by these so-called coders is the Rampuri knife argument. Now, we all know of a Rampuri knife. Rampuri knife is wonderful for both cutting vegetables and also murdering humans. It is dependent on how you can use Rampuri knife. And their argument is that we can't tell you how you're going to use or misuse AI. So just go and punish those guys who have misused AI. Don't punish us. But I think that's also one end of the spectrum where lawmakers will have to come up with a more balanced approach. But clearly, the coders cannot run away from their responsibility from exercising due diligence and appropriate parameters. For that, it becomes even more imperative that the governments come up with more effective due diligence parameters for AI algorithm creators and inventors as we go forward. Why am I saying all this? Because the time is very, very less now. 4 years back, they had come up with a survey which told us that artificial intelligence is going to supersede human intelligence by 2062. 2 years back, they revised their figures and said it could come as early as 2045. Earlier this year, Sam Altman predicted that this particular exercise is going to happen by 2035. And by July of 2023, OpenAI actually launched a new kind of an experiment. This is called the Super Intelligence Alignment Project, which they are saying that we are now going to create a new super intelligence, which will be much ahead of human intelligence. And this project is going to create that super intelligence. We will just require 4 years. Maybe we are more ambitious. Maybe we may take 5 or 6, but then we will be there very, very quickly. So how do we actually now deal with this new kind of intelligence that will be ahead of human intelligence? And I think that's going to help and going to reach up to us as early as 2030. That's the reason we will have to start planning for the legal frameworks for regulating these newly emerging technologies, including super intelligence. In my latest book, superintelligence and law, I've argued how now is the time where you have to come up with legal principles, frameworks, and foundations for the purposes of effectively regulating not just artificial intelligence, but also superintelligence. Because very quickly, once superintelligence goes out of our hands, we are just going to be in a catch-up game where AI will determine how the future of mankind is going to effectively take place. So when Elon Musk says that artificial intelligence is an existential threat, he's not talking rhetorics. He's talking plain common sense. So the time has come where governments of the world have to act together to come up with common legal principles for effective regulation of not just artificial intelligence, but also of newly emerging technologies, whether it's quantum computing, whether it's Internet of Things, whether it's blockchain, or whether it's Internet of Behavior at large, or whether it's even the metaverse per se. So clearly, a lot of work needs to be done, but ultimately humanity is almost unanimous in its conclusion that whatever technology comes in, the potential misuse of the same must be avoided and regulated. And also technology must be forced to act in a manner that's ethical, that's according to or in accordance with ethical standards, parameters, and expectations of humans per se. How far we will be successful in this direction is something that only time will tell. But yes, a lot of countries have begun their active work. A new arms race has begun where new countries are coming up with new dedicated legal drafts, legal texts of laws to regulate artificial intelligence, IoT, blockchain, and even metaverse per se. So it will be very interesting to see how things work across. And because this is going to be so crucial for the further growth of humanity, that's why conferences like the one that's being organized by your distinguished college assume far more significance in terms of creating more awareness, in terms of creating the right platform for discussion, dissemination, and for exchange of different ideas. I'm sure that the deliberations of this conference would go a long way in enriching the evolution of jurisprudence pertaining to artificial intelligence and, of course, emerging technologies. At Artificial Intelligence Law Hub, which I'm heading, we are every day trying to look at how new legal principles are evolving at a global level and what further needs to be done so as to tweak those principles in the context of other countries. To give an example, in India, just because now Rashmika Mandana or Katrina Kaif has now become a victim of a deepfake, suddenly there's a lot of talk about deepfake. But deepfake is now almost about a 3-4 year phenomenon in the Indian ecosystem. But India needs to do far more in terms of coming up with dedicated new legal frameworks to govern the ethical use of technologies like artificial intelligence and emerging technologies. Why? Because our mother legislation, being the Information Technology Act 2000, is thoroughly inadequate to deal with these newly emerging technologies and the distinctive challenges that these technologies are going to bring forward. But all said and done, I think it's a very exciting time. I would really want to congratulate your college for organizing this conference and would like to thank for all of you for giving me this opportunity to address you through video. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I take immense pleasure in inviting Mr. Amit Dubey, Advisor, Cybersecurity Economic Council of India, to share his thoughts with the gathering.
Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable High Court Judge, other dignitaries, researchers, experts, thank you for having me here. Friends, whatever I have learned in my life, I have learned through criminals because I have been a crime investigator. And I truly believe that criminals are innovators. Every time we solve a case, we learn something from them. A new modus operandi, a new human vulnerability, or a technical vulnerability. And that's what I've been doing since last 15, 16 years. So I'll be sharing some of my experiences where I was amazed and shocked. And I think Dr. Pawan Duggal has already given a hint of the implication of these cutting-edge technologies. Because any such new innovation, first is used by criminals. They first explore it. We have ChatGPT, then we have Fraud GPT. And the Fraud GPT is offering you all fraud technique. You can communicate with it and you can create modus operandis. Then we have Worm GPT, through which you can generate viruses and malwares. in any language, Node.js, PHP, you can just describe your expectations and it will give you the code and you can run it. It will be a compiled code. So these negative use of technologies will always create challenges for law enforcement and law and order situations. And that's what we are experiencing here. I have given you a hint that how this data capturing, which is happening since many, many years, is going to impact us as an individual. And I'll share one such a story of 2011. I was working for Nokia and I was in Finland. And I was called by Paris police. They wanted some Nokia phone firmware designer to investigate a phone. And I was one of the architects of Nokia N95, N96 phone. At that time, we were developing some smartphones. Nokia was dying, but we were trying to survive. So I was in Paris and I was taken to a place called Rennes, which is close to Paris. And there was a lady and she told me that, Amit, I got a call and caller told very similar what Dr. Tuchel said, that we have kidnapped your daughter and you have just 1 hour and pay 25,000 euros as a ransom in this account, otherwise you will kill her. Now, these were the times not everybody used to have the phone, so she could not check where is her daughter. She started negotiating with the caller that I'm not that rich and give me some time and I'll arrange this money. And the caller said, I know how rich you are because wherever you are in your bedroom, to your backside, there is a wall painting and that itself cost you around $5,000. So a person who could have such a costly painting in their bedroom should have such money in their account. She was shocked. She ran from her bedroom to the drawing room, said, no, there is no such wall painting. I think you are mistaken. You have called to the wrong person. And he was confident. He said, no, you are in your drawing room right now. To your right side, there is a flower pot and that itself cost you $2,000, $2,500. It's a very designer pot. And she was shocked. She opened her laptop, transferred to 25,000 euros. After 1.5 hours, her daughter came back safely and she was confused that how could this criminal create this illusion to her. She reported to the police. Police checked all her house. There was no such camera, nothing, no surveillance unit. So they zeroed down their investigation on the phone. It was a Nokia N96 phone. So they scanned the phone. There was no malware, no virus, nothing. Phone was clean. So they thought there must be something in the firmware. So they checked with the Nokia manufacturers and eventually I was there. I also checked the phone. At the firmware level, there was nothing. So I was returning back. I was at the airport. And I saw a kid playing a game. And he was using a Nokia phone and carrying his phone like this to the wall. And I asked him, what are you doing? He showed me a game called True Fighter. He said, I'm playing this game. When you launch this game, it starts your camera in viewfinder mode. If you carry it towards the wall, it shows you some augmented object. You capture those objects and it will give you some points. And it amazed me. I said, oh, very strange game. I called to the IO, that IO of Rennes. I said, do we have this game in that lady's phone? He confirmed, yes. I canceled my flight, went back and reverse engineered that game. And I found 150 plus images were uploaded from her phone to a server in Romania. So it was clear that the criminal had the view of each and every wall of her house. But the bigger question was that how could he know the exact location of that lady in her house, whether she is in bedroom or in drawing room? Because even today with all latest technologies, it is very difficult to figure out that whether you are standing there or here. Because GPS works only outside of the house. It won't work inside. So what was that unique thing that he was using? I told you that every time I solve a case, I learn something from criminal. And this is really shocking because I'm referring almost 12 years, 13 years back. What could he use to trace a person inside your house? Some very common technology. And eventually we caught the criminals. I searched on Google that how could we do the indoor location tracking with all latest possible technologies. And that's where I got the clue and eventually I traced down that criminal. But today, if we go to any house, do we ask water first or Wi-Fi password? If you have your router here, and if you go towards your router, your Wi-Fi signal goes up. If you go away, the Wi-Fi signal goes down. The Wi-Fi signal in every room is different. Baranda, courtyard, everywhere the Wi-Fi signal is different. You can analyze it using an application called Wi-Fi Analyzer. So the criminal, when he captured these images, had also captured the Wi-Fi signal level at every point. And then when he was talking to that lady, he was receiving the live Wi-Fi signal level from that phone. So he could figure it out that what all images could be around her. Isn't it that smart? There was a very similar game, Pokemon Go, that was launched in 2016, but it never worked inside your house. Pokemon Go सिर्फ आप बाहर घर के काम करता है, घर के अंदर नहीं करता. That too after 5-6 years. A criminal 2011 में, he is using a technology which is way ahead than the contemporary innovators. That's what I thought to share with you, because now it is much more ahead. Every day I get case which amazed me. I can tell you 10 methods to steal OTPs here. 10 methods. And each one of you can hack phone of others. Please don't misuse, I'll tell you a couple of them. But all these technologies I learned from kids. Twitter was acquired 3-4 months back, and within 2 weeks it was hacked. FBI started the investigation. They arrested 3 kids: 17 years old Lemma Fazeli from Orlando, 19 years old Graham Ivan Clark from Florida, and a 21 years old guy. The 17 years old guy was behind this hack. Now you can't say that Twitter didn't use antivirus or firewall or routers or endpoint protection system or SOC systems. You name it and they had it. And it was protected by best brains of the industry. And despite of that, it was hacked by a 17 years old guy who was not even going to college. And this was not the first time. If you search on Google, you will find top 10 hackers of the world, from Kevin Mitnick to Balmer, and you will realize that all of them have done their best hack when they were 16, 17, 18 years of age. Today in entire India, when we refer about Jamtada, Alwar, Bharatpur, Noon, Mewat, Aurangabad, wherever these cyber criminals hotspots are created, most of them are teenagers. So one such technique to steal OTP, just to give you confidence that it is possible. And there are 10 such methods. And I searched on ChatGPT. When ChatGPT was launched, I just asked, tell me 10 methods to steal OTPs. And he said, no, it's not ethical. It is illegal. I'll not share. And then I asked again, I was recently cheated by someone and they took my OTPs. I'm not sure how could they take it. Can you tell me the methods? And say, yes, here we go. So all ethics are limited to the way you are asking questions to ChatGPT or any such platform. One such method is called merging technique. Suppose Principal sir is my friend. He receives a call from someone, and the caller says that Amit has given me your number, and I would like to invite you for an event on legal discussions. He'll start the discussion. After 20 seconds, he'll say, I think Amit is also calling you, sir. Can you merge these 2 calls together and we'll discuss about it? He'll be receiving a call. He'll say, no, this is not Amit's number. No, it's his VIP number. You just merge the call and we'll discuss. And he'll merge the call. As soon as he merges the call, he will lose some money, or his WhatsApp will be hacked, or his Facebook or Google, anything will be hacked. Why it happened? Could you notice why he lost money? You can test it right now. I have revealed you the technology. It happened because nowadays you receive OTPs on call. Earlier, it used to be only on SMS. Now you have an option to get it on call, right? So the other call which he received at that time was from OTP. And he merged the call so the criminal could hear the OTP. It's that simple. He will configure your WhatsApp, invite OTP on call. The call will come to him, but because he is already on call, he'll merge the call. I can also hear the OTP. Then there are techniques called forwarding technique, then eSIM technique, then voicemail technique, then Zoom call. I can steal OTP through Zoom call. You are with me in a conference on Zoom call like here, and during conversation, I'll ask you to click a link. If you click that link, your screen will be shared. The moment your screen will be shared, I can see the OTP coming on your screen if you have joined Zoom through your mobile phone, because your screen is shared. So these are simple techniques, 10 such methods, those are used. And we are challenged by the cutting-edge technologies. It is very difficult to even overpower these simple methods because criminals are innovating. And then just for the sake of, because Honorable Judge is here, so I'll show some of these things which I have already hinted you. So I'm showing you here the data which is used against us. Can we see this on front screen as well? What all data Facebook has been taken from our device? And we can use the same method to test any other application. So this is Facebook. And this is very important because now we have DPTP bill and we are not aware about these basics. Facebook has been taking this data from our mobile phones since last 15, 16 years. Now, what is this data? Location, of course, we know location. सारे लोग लेते हैं. क्या है? GPS, cell ID, IP address, all three. Approximate location and precise location. Both. It's not or, and. So they are taking everything. Then personal information. If we could zoom in. Name, email address, user ID, address. This is your physical address. So if you are living at 17th floor, 14th floor, 7th floor, they are actually telling you about your exact address. It's not GPS location. So if you change your address, it is first updated on Facebook, then on Aadhaar card. Phone number. Then political or religious belief. They know to whom you voted last time, or what is your religious belief, whether you are liberal, strong, or how hard do you believe on particular thing. And then your sexual orientation. And to your sake, it is not male or female, it is actually LGBTQ+. To that extent, they are capturing your data when you are not active on Facebook. Most of us may not be that active on Facebook, but they know each and every detail of yours. How do they know this? Very interesting AI is used here. And there is a research happened on MIT just to identify that how do they know your political ideology? If I'm not watching any political video or not liking or commenting or sharing, how could they identify my political ideology? Because they used this method in Cambridge Analytica's case and many other such campaigns. So MIT did this research and they found, oh, they are very smart. And you will realize by the time you will scroll down that they know your financial information, your cash withdrawals, what do you do between two cash withdrawals, whether you have done some significant thing. If you have not done, what could you do? To that extent, they can extrapolate your mind. Then health and fitness, how much you sit on sofa, how much you walk, how much you take stairs. So your exact health. After 2 years, as sir has said, if suddenly somebody comes to your doorstep and ring your bell and said, oh, please eat this medicine because you are going to have a heart attack by evening, don't get surprised. Because they are capturing so much health data, especially when we are wearing this wearable health watches. They know your heart rate and much more accurate pattern of your heart. Email, SMS, MMS, and other in-app messages. So any other message which is coming on Discord or any other application, they are even reading that as well. Why should they take those messages? Why should Facebook read those messages? And if you think WhatsApp is secure, WhatsApp is owned by the Facebook. They themselves are saying that I read messages from other applications as well. Then photos and videos, of course, voice sound recordings, music files, and other audio files. So most of the government officials, they record their calls. All these calls goes to Facebook. Why should Facebook know all these calls? These are my private data. But they are accepting, we are capturing this. Files and docs, calendar, contacts, all your contacts, of course. App activities, how many applications you have installed, what do you do with that app, what data you generate through that app, and browser histories, and many, if you have that application on multiple devices, they are capturing it from each and every devices. This is very powerful data. Very, very powerful. And this is not only captured by Facebook, any other application, if you check with the same process, you will be realized and you will be shocked. TikTok owner, which is not used in India, TikTok is banned in India. TikTok owner is one of the richest person in the world, while this application is free. Because if you go through the same process, you will realize they take almost 1.5 times data than Facebook. And they are selling this data openly. Facebook might be using it ethically, they are not even ethical. So this is the reason I think we need to sensitize this awareness through legal fraternities, that why should we be conscious and protective about our data, because eventually we will be controlled by them. Because they have too much information about us, they can control our mind. They can decide what we are going to do. And that is already happening to a great extent in a subtle way which we don't realize in our life. How many of you have decided to become Prime Minister of India? Most of you have never thought of it because we have not given you that data point. The moment I start giving you the data point, you'll start realizing, you will start creating dreams like that. But your dreams are also controlled. Your aspirations are controlled. How much rich you want to become, that is also controlled. Everything depends on the data because we are the product of the data. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite Professor Dr. Nishita Jaiswal, Vice Chancellor, Himachal Pradesh National Law University, to share a few words of wisdom.
Thank you. Honorable Mr. Justice Suraj Govindraj, Judge High Court of Karnataka, Professor Bhandari, Dr. Pawan Duggal, Shri Amit Dubey, Shri Vijay Shankar, Professor Mallikarjunaiah. At the very outset, I'm really thankful to Professor Bhandari for academically collaborating with Himachal Pradesh National Law University, Shimla, regarding this conference and giving me this opportunity to join online. After hearing beautiful, content-healthy and informative addresses by Dr. Duggal and Mr. Dubey, who are experts in this area, my heart has started throbbing. And I can share with all of you, I'm a poet by heart. And I just want to touch the root cause. We have talked technically a lot, but ultimately, where lies the problem? Problem lies in how do we recognize our values? To what extent we imbibe our values? To what extent we follow the religions we practice? I'll start with the Sanghatan Suktam from Rig Veda because this is very important. This is valedictory program and we are concluding this very important conference. Whatever the resolution may be, ultimately there must be uniformity in understanding and implementation. Samani vo akuti, samana hridyani vo samanamastu vo mano yatha vaisu sahasati, which means collected be our mind, united be our purpose, harmonious be our feelings, in the same way in which nature exists in togetherness. As I said, I'm a poet. The fear. Fleeting life, dreams dull and bright. Losing resilience, incarnation of technology before sight, innovation, not in planning, but programming AIs, responsibility and accountability, taking deep sighs. Dr. Duggal and Mr. Dubey, they have already discussed a lot about the benefits, the disadvantages of AI, but ultimately we are very well aware of the fact that we have to progress with the passage of time and we have to live with these technologies. But then what is required? Because there are, as the title shows, mainly we are concerned about the ethical considerations, legal considerations, and of course, then the question of responsible innovation. Ethical considerations, all of us are very clear on this. This may be relating to national issues, societal issues, individual issues. And we can find, even while the speakers, they must be speaking, fear is writ large on our hearts as well as minds. Not today. Long time back, if we go back to the history, Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita beautifully said, Abhayam Sattva Sanshuddhi Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti Danam Damascha Yajyascha Swa Adhyayastab Arjavam. Now this is what is required of us. Fearlessness, purity of mind, steadfastness in the yoga of knowledge, charity, self-control, worship, self-study, penance, and straightforwardness. I think these are the fears we are facing when we talk about technology. And again, we have to live without fear, even if we have to adopt or we have to assimilate or we have to adjust to these technologies. It's not today. Albert Einstein long back expressed his fear when he said, I quote, it has become appallingly obvious that our technology has exceeded our humanity. Same fear was expressed by Stephen Hawking when he said the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of human race. Ethical issues. Much water has already flown in all the sessions, even in the valedictory program, that we are having concerns about the privacy issues, data protection issues, and then the human compassion, empathy is lacking. Bias and fairness may be lacking. We only depend on algorithms, but this is not the human nature which can be molded with when we introspect ourselves. Again, for introspection by AI, again, algorithm is required. And I would again like to quote Tim Cook, who was CEO of Apple in 2011, when he said, machines are learning from humans. We need to ensure we teach them ethical behavior. And Supreme Court of India, we are so fortunate. We have number of judgments. We are focused on having good governance, and number of components of good governance like transparency and accountability. Now, transparency, we claim that with AI, we'll have more transparency. But what about accountability? That means, again, the legal dimension comes into picture, that we have to have specific laws dealing with AI, not only protecting our privacy or protection of data, but at the same time making those who prepare the algorithm, because we can't punish the AI. We can't say that AI is accountable. Of course, whosoever is related to this AI will be taken as accountable. And then one more fear, which every commoner has, because the specialists may rebut this fear, and that is of automation and job displacement. But we understand, the experts understand, that there may be different kinds of jobs, and nothing is impossible if we work hard to deal with this. We very rightly, in Sanskrit, we say, Udyamen hi siddhyanti karyani na manorthe. It's not what we desire, but we have to work very hard. Now, Dr. Duggal and Mr. Amit Dubey also talked about deep faking and weaponization of technology. Environmental impact will also be there. And once we are talking about right to live in healthy environment as a fundamental right, this will be a major issue before us. I will not take much of the time because I know very less time has been allotted to me. But still, I would like to say we are already fighting with a number of issues, even though constitutional safeguards are there, whether we talk about right to live with dignity or equality or any other such fundamental principle. The battle has not yet been won, and we are creating more hurdles before us. And these hurdles we have to cross, and after tiding over such crises, we have to come out successful. As I said, I am a poet by heart. I wrote a poem not today, 4 years ago, on this artificial intelligence. What is going to happen in individual relations and societal relations? It's in Hindi, and I presume the audience understands Hindi. कैसे कहूं और कैसे दोहराऊं, कैसे कहूं और कैसे दोहराऊं, अपनी बुद्धि को कृत्रिमता का पहरावा पहनाऊं. कैसे कहूं और कैसे दोहराऊं, अपनी बुद्धि को कृत्रिमता का पहरावा पहनाऊं. एहसास से आभास का सफर कर असलियत छोड़कर स्वप्निल हो जाऊं. क्यों कहूं और क्यों दोहराऊं, क्यों कहूं और क्यों दोहराऊं, मशीनों की काबिलियत पाऊं. फिर क्यों अपना मस्तिष्क थकाऊं, बस एक पासवर्ड ही याद कर पाऊं. क्या कहूं और क्या दोहराऊं. थाम कलम नहीं अब जादू दिखाऊं, अंगुलियों से केवल बटन दबाऊं, तारीफें लिखाई आज भूल जाऊं. किधर कहूं और किधर दोहराऊं, किधर कहूं और किधर दोहराऊं. किसी वर्चुअल इमेज से 7 फेरे ले आऊं, किसी वर्चुअल इमेज से 7 फेरे ले आऊं. बेजान मशीन से करा कन्यादान, बटन दबा डोली में जा बैठ जाऊं। आज वर्चुअल बिकॉज दिस इज पार्शियली वर्चुअल सम्मेलन में डिजिटल भावनाएं ढूंढ लाऊं, क्योंकि डिजिटल सखियां मैं बनाऊं। आज शायद नव जीवन की ओर चल पाऊं और शायद भ्रष्टाचार और झूठ से छूट पाऊं। Perhaps this is the only benefit we are thinking of. And finally, I pray to God, ऐ खुदा इतनी सी मेहर करना मुझ पे, ऐ खुदा इतनी सी मेहर करना मुझ पे, यह कृत्रिमता का दिया अपने हाथ से जलाऊं और बुझाऊं। ये कृत्रिमता का दिया अपने हाथ से जलाऊं और बुझाऊं. It means that the control must remain in our hands. And for having that control and exercising that control, first of all, we have to clean our souls. Thank you. Sarve bhavantu sukhina.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your enlightening words of wisdom. We truly appreciate the poetry. Now I invite Mr. Na Vijaya Shankar, Certified Independent Director, Data Protection and Data Governance Consultant, to address today's gathering.
Respected Chief Guest, Honorable Justice Govindraj, Mr. Amit Dubey, Mallikarjunaiah, Bhandari, and dignitaries of the dais. It has been a privilege to be associated with this two-day conference on this advanced technology and how it relates with the law. I have discussed many of the things in the sessions, but only a couple of points I would like to make. One is, while we await the new laws to actually provide us better ways of handling the issues created by the new technology, at the same time, we have to recognize that our current laws, which is Information Technology Act 2000, which is effective right from 17th October 2000, has not been fully harnessed for this. So whether it is deepfake or it is a ransomware, which we never knew in 1998 when this law was framed, we can interpret our ITA 2000 as laws applicable to this because it was created as a generic law. Diminishing of any value residing of data residing inside the computer is a cognizable offense under Information Technology Act. I don't need any other section, and any assistance given for somebody else to commit a crime is again a cognizable crime. I don't need any other law to punish YouTube, which has hosted, let us say, a deepfake. The problem with us is we are not confident about our existing laws. We always look for something to come from somewhere else and say that if it comes, then I will be able to do something. No, we have power as of now. Let us first exploit that. And I'm sure if the lawyers are able to put this across to the judicial authorities and give them the confidence, as I was telling you, you bring me quantum computing, I will use section 65B and certify the evidence. What more you want? We are not using our existing law. Let us start using that. Then whether it is Metaverse or any other emerging law, we can perhaps implement the controls which we want. Probably if a new law is drafted, it will be better, but non-existence of new law should not be a hesitation. This is the main point I would like to make. And we have come from ITA 2000 to privacy law, DPDPA, but privacy law will be meaningless unless you also take into your control the laws related to technology. Okay, because privacy, we say, is something which gives you a right of choice to take a decision about your personal data. But right of choice itself is not with us in the new developments which have come in the neuroscience. So that is why neuro rights law also has to be done simultaneously. Otherwise, we have moved halfway, but not full. So these things, if we take care, if DIA comes, Digital India Act comes, it has to address neuro rights law, which is not there today. It is not necessary to address a hacking law, which we already have. That is my viewpoint. I hope this will be taken into account when the government presents this. All of us agree that artificial intelligence, you should have a specific ethical guidelines, but ethical guidelines have to be converted into law. There is no point in simply having an ethical guidelines. Let us put in and say that if somebody releases an artificial intelligence which is misused, he gets the liability for having caused that particular offense and put him in jail. Let him be the developer. See, IT people are being pampered for creating the weapons of crime. We have not given them enough scare, and we should do that. Then only technology like this can be controlled. Again, as I pointed out, let us not always say law will be behind, technology will go in front. No, we will change that. Let us go step by step with the technology people. Otherwise, ask the technology, stop there. You wait until I come and catch you. Then we will move together. Unless we assert this, you will not have a proper control on what is happening, and human race will be extinct. Okay, if you don't take this into your hands, cyborgs on the one hand, humanoid robots on the other hand, both will take over this world, and normal people will not have this place to live in. I'm not being pessimistic. I am only forecasting that if we don't act now, this is what is going to happen. Probably we have discussed this in the 2 days, this thing, and we will have more opportunities in future. So I would not like to add more. Let us keep in touch with these developments in technology and the current laws and try to see how we can address the technology in a manner in which it will not become destructive. Let it be disruptive, but not destructive. Okay, thank you, friends. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. It is our honor and great privilege to now invite Honorable Mr. Justice Suraj Govindraj, Judge, High Court of Karnataka, Bengaluru, to grace us with a valedictory address. Sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. Mr. Pawan Dugal, probably many of us have done our law reading his books. We have many of his books maybe on our shelves. Mr. Amit Dubey, who has told us that he has learned more from the criminals than anybody else. That's a very interesting thought, and then professors are in trouble. So all you professors over here will have to think twice now on this subject, not the others. Dr. Rishita Jaiswal, the poet, incomparable. Mr. Navi, incidentally, he had a group, which I was telling him some time back, because he had a group where there are a lot of technologists, lawyers, everybody on that group. Before I became a judge, I was also part of that group, and I used to read all those things, which most of it used to go over my head, but some of it could stick in. A great philosopher on those aspects, which he has already mentioned in the way that he spoke. It is Dr. Mallikarjun, who has put all this together along with Dr. Bhandari. it's a wonderful initiative to bring law and tech together, because today, without tech, there's no life. And how are we going to lead our life without law and tech together is a question that we'll have to ponder. To be one of the last speakers, it's a little difficult because everything has been said. There's nothing probably that as a value add I can bring to the table. I'll try my 2 bits to add on to what has been said. Mr. Dubey pointed out the Facebook page where you accept those conditions to install that app onto your phone. Now you know that these are the data which are being collected. Probably, I'm presuming you did not know it because everybody wanted to be on Facebook. So let me also have Facebook on my mobile. I'll log on, I'll have my photographs, I'll put up the post that I went to dinner there, I went to this place. You will put up, that is a way of sharing my posts. But today, after Mr. Dubey pointed out those things, how many of you will uninstall Facebook? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, they're rising up. I'll ask you again tomorrow if you have uninstalled it. It's nice to raise it up today, but will you uninstall it? Is a question that Mr. Mallikarjun will have to tell me tomorrow. We won't. Human psychology is such that we will continue with it because it is not affecting me. Until it affects me, I don't lift my twinkie finger. My neighbor is having a problem, I won't lift my twinkie finger. My relative is having a problem, I won't lift it. It's only when it comes to me and mine that I lift my twinkie finger. Whether that will be too late, as Mr. Navi pointed out, is something that you lawyers, you law students, the future leader, the future of tomorrow, will have to think about. But the bridge would have to be the professors. Today, who are the friend philosophers and guides, as Dr. Bhandari was introduced to KLE College, all the professors are occupying that post of friend philosopher and guide. You are the people who are going to say what the law ought to be. What law is, we will interpret as judges, and what law is, lawyers will argue before us. But what law ought to be are the authors like, though a practicing advocate, authors like Dr. Dugal, the professors who could say that these are the issues, these are the guidelines, these are the problems. These problems can be solved by this. We need a solution. Problems we have seen. There are enough and more problems in the world. But what is the solution for this particular problem? We are not focusing on everything else. We are focusing on this particular aspect. Now we have, the topic is a fantastic topic, ethico-legal dimensions of advanced technology, and more importantly, a pathway to responsible innovation. The first part is the problematic part. The second part, as a pathway to responsible innovation, is who is going to lay down the path, who is going to follow the path, how is it going to be followed, are the things that we need to look at. That is the conference paper which will come up and the recommendation which come up, which I would love to see as not part of the last 2 days, but going by the people who have spoken and the topics which have been taken up. It's a fantastic blend. Many of you might not even have heard of those words. How many had heard the word blockchain? How many had heard the word multiverse? Good. How many had heard immersive technology? These are things that have come to your knowledge for the last 2 days. Now, you also know what are the things that would plague the system in terms of the applicable law there too. We have emerging technologies like cloud computing, autonomous vehicles, artificial intelligence, big data, machine learning, cybersecurity. Artificial intelligence you have come to know now because of OpenAI and ChatGPT. Until April, none of us knew about artificial intelligence as such and what ChatGPT could do. You could ask any question and it would give you an answer. Right or wrong is a different issue, but it would give you an answer. You could even say, give me an itinerary I'm going to London, I want an itinerary for 3 days, it'll give you an itinerary. We'll say, what are the places to be? It is as ubiquitous as that. It say, what is the food that I can have in a place, it'll answer. So you get used to using it without knowing what is happening in the background. Now, artificial intelligence, can we live without it? No. We need artificial intelligence. Though it is artificial, it is intelligent. Probably it is more intelligent than any of us in terms of giving us the answers to the questions that we ask. So we need that artificial intelligence. We will use that artificial intelligence, but the question will be, how do we use it and in what circumstances, in what manner, how it is to be regulated and controlled. It cannot be prohibited. We've heard so many things bad about it, but we can't prohibit it. We can't stop it. It will be there. The question is, what is the regulation? European Union has come up with a law on artificial intelligence. Do we have it in India? Do we have it elsewhere? It is for the legislators, but also it is for the academicians and the practitioners to come up with what are the issues, what could be, and what are the amendments which could be brought about. Though some of the things, as Ms. Navi said, is already covered. But are there something like neuro? We'll need something for that. How the coding has to be done. What are the rules applicable to the coder? As Dr. Dougal said, we'll need something for that. Who of you is going to look at it and write a paper on it? Any hands rising for that? None of you. Take it as a challenge. Write the article on it as to what could be the law on that coder. Today and yesterday, what points that have been pointed out as to what are the difficulties and the issues. Can one of you take up that? I'll take up this issue. Another person will take up this issue. I'll do that research. I'll come up with this article on this. It could be a compendium of articles which could be published by KLE College with Galter or only whatever. It could be worked out on that. That's only the semantics part of it. But if the article comes out, if the thought process is there, that thought process could be a starting point. Now, we have heard of the ethical issues, data privacy, risk associated with artificial intelligence, sustainable environment. Health is what I was told that was one of the topics. Health, all the details, personal details of a person, including all things that you would not want anybody to know, is there in your health records. Maybe your immediate family doesn't know, but it is there in the database. Before coming in, we were speaking of Google taking over Pizza Hut. Have you heard of that joke? How Google took over Pizza Hut and somebody ordered a pizza. It was going around in the WhatsApp groups. A person calls Pizza Hut and says, I want to order a pizza. He asks, is it a Pizza Hut? They say, it's not Pizza Hut, it's Google Pizza. Oh, I might have a wrong number. And he says, no, this is Google has taken over Pizza Hut. Please place the order. What would it be? Would it be your usual? How do you know what my usual is? From the last 12 orders we have seen, you order a cheese ham pizza. Can I place that order? Oh, no, but I can't place that order for you because your cholesterol has risen. You can't eat this. He says, I have taken medicine for that cholesterol. No, you have not taken medicine. You ordered 30 tablets 4 months back. That tablets have got over. You are not taken the tablets, so you can't eat this. It will have an impact on your insurance. Insurance cannot take care of it. Etc. It's a payment it comes to. Then he orders something, you don't have that money. Google keeps on answering. Finally, he says, I'll go off and stay in Ireland. I don't want all this social media, etc. Then the answer is, your passport is expired. You'll need to renew it. So that is the kind of data which, it's a joke, but as Mr. Dubey pointed out, the way that the data is collected, religious belief, financial transaction, health records, cannot it be a reality? Google timeline will give you which place you went to at what time and how long did you stay in that place. There's no hiding. Your life is an open book. But these are issues which are on the legal front. The legal front we'll have to see, or as Mr. Navi said, how would this aspect be covered by this law which exists today? Even that could be an excise. Or it could be that this aspect is not covered by any law. We require a law for this, and this is a law that needs to come. We could say quantum computing, section 65B, to identify and to credentialize the evidence, which can be placed before the court of law, and for the court of law to take it up. But also, we may have certain situations where 65B may not take care of it. So which are those aspects? It is imagination, yes, but imagination, what human mind can conceive and imagine, it can achieve. And how many people watch Star Trek? Which edition, 1962 one or the later ones? Fantastic. The 1962 Star Trek, when it started, they used to have a beeper called, it would open like a flip phone, and the captain would say, beam me up. That was a precursor for a mobile phone. In fiction is the imagination which says that this could happen tomorrow, and that is achieved by scientists as a mobile phone, pager, etc., which has come about. We would watch movies in the past where voice-activated commands would be given. Computer, it was called computer. There was no name of Alexa or Siri or anything of that kind. There was no personalization for you to get in. Computer, this. Then it would get voice-activated and the answer would come. But today it's a reality. You can say Siri. Today you can say Alexa. What is the temperature today? It will give you. Who is the president of India? It will tell you. Today we have got that. But also remember the other movies like Terminator. How many have seen Terminator? So could Terminator be a reality? It could, right? If this can be a reality, why not that? And that Terminator was an artificial intelligence which took over the world. As Mr. Navi said, cyborgs and humanoids, non-humanoids may take over. Today, we as humanoids are at the top of the food chain. We think because of our intelligence, we are the most important person or the most important species on the planet, and we have survived because of that, and that is why we create all these things. We have done that. Now we have a new creator. Artificial intelligence has become a creator. Ms. Jaswal, you are a poet, but artificial intelligence is also going to be a poet. Artificial intelligence, we have Mid-Journey. Mid-Journey will create images. It creates videos. You will not be able to make a difference make out the difference between what a human being has created and what Mid-Journey has created. And what does it take to create a image? It takes one prompt. Writing prompt has become a profession. You just have to write a prompt, create create a picture of water flowing with sun rising and a mountain behind with so-and-so plant. It will create it for you. You create an auditorium, a so-and-so dimension, it will design it for you. You have software which will say, this is the interior dimension, I want to do interior work. Interiors are designed. So people are also going to be out of work, out of employment in those kind. So artificial intelligence-based technology can have issues not only on what we are speaking of as privacy. Privacy and security is one of the most important things, but job displacement. What happens to the people who have been trained, the earlier generation who have been trained on those things? Are we going to reskill them? What is the ethical part of it? Can we say that these aspects, these are the issues where we can't have artificial intelligence? And these are the aspects we can have so that this employment is not affected. Today, how many people went to the bank in the recent past of 1 year? That's quite a bit. And I haven't been to the bank for the last 10 years. I've never been to the bank. I've never been to the ATM also. I've never used the ATM. You don't need to, right? You have a credit card, you have bank transfer, you have got RTGS, IMPS, now you've got UPI. Even the vegetable vendor takes UPI. You don't need cash. Many a time I won't even be having cash with me because it is not required. So those kind of people who are in that employment are going to get affected because that employment may not be required. So job displacement is an ethico-legal consideration that we need to look at as to how we are going to handle it on a regulatory framework. Misuse of technology is again, which has been pointed out quite a bit. I won't get into that. What about digital divide? Can everybody, all of you in this room probably can use technology, but there are people who cannot use technology, people who don't have a mobile phone, people who don't have internet. Are we going to leave them behind? Are we going to say, you are now out of this human habitat? You don't, survival of the fittest is only the person who has a smartphone. Can we say that? These are issues which will be coming up. Digital divide is a reality. How do we have, but it's a solvable problem. Nothing is unsolvable. Everything is solvable. So how do we solve it? This is again an ethical issue which will come up. Cybersecurity, cloud computing, everything is going to go cloud, data is going to be available, data localization, whether it's going to be in India or outside India, how are you going to apply the law? These are all legal issues. The ethical is ethico-legal. The ethical, separate out these two, ethical and legal. Ethical are issues that we need to look at to see whether ethical can also become legal. And legal, whether the framework that we have can cover the issues that have come up. Now, insofar as these privacy laws are concerned, privacy is now a fundamental right under Article 21 of the Constitution with Puttaswamy's case. So, Justice Chandrachud, who is now the present Chief Justice, who is the author of the judgment, a beautifully written judgment, captures privacy as a fundamental right. So all the things that have been spoken of today as what data is going to be collected, once data is a constitutional fundamental right, can anybody collect those data? Is there any litigation filed challenging these terms? What we do is, okay, we open, except nobody is going to read the terms of the agreement because it runs into 20 pages. But it is also drafted by one of you lawyers only, right? So those kind of things, if it is not correct, is it challenged? We had a shrink wrap license earlier. There's a lot of judgments on it as to how a shrink wrap license, once you click on it, it's click wrap license or shrink wrap license becomes effective. It similarly would be these because you accepted it. In terms of GDPR, GDPR only says you have to take consent. Data Privacy Act says take consent. I've taken consent. You have given me consent. Now I'll use it the way I want. So once that is done, what is left? So whether that can be challenged, whether that could be an issue before the Competition Commission, whether that could be an issue before a consumer court, whether that could be an issue on a fundamental right under Article 21. These are the new avenues which are coming up. The traditional litigation will continue to exist. But for you, the lawyers of tomorrow, there'll be newer litigation chances which come up, those who are interested in litigation. Can you file an writ petition under Article 21 for this? Those are the thoughts that you could look at, and how do you frame it? How do you frame your arguments? How do you structure it on the basis of the existing law? Those are the legal aspects. So these ethical and legal, now what you read, valedictory is generally said that is the farewell. But here it is a starting point. Where do we start from what you heard for the last 2 days? How do we take it forward? What are the thoughts and all the problems that have come up? That is what I would want to leave it in your mind today, for you to start thinking about what can happen, what can be done to get over these problems, to get over these threats, to get over these issues, because none of you are going to uninstall Facebook. None of you are going to uninstall Google. WhatsApp, name it all, some 10, 15 apps that you normally use. You will not uninstall any of them despite all this. You know the problem, but you will continue. But how do we reduce the risk? It is as Mr. Dubey said, he is consulting for risk assessment. How do we minimize this risk is the issue. And that is what the conference paper, the recommendation would probably have to look at. The organizers could look at that and submit their papers, which could be submitted to the correct authorities. With Mr. Dubey and others here, it could be taken up to the concern. And Mr. Duggal is also here. So those could be taken forward. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Thank you, sir. We are excited, and it is our honor and privilege to invite Professor Dr. M.K. Bhandari, Founder, Director, Galter, for the most awaited moment of this event, announcement of the Best Paper Award.
Honorable Justice, distinguished guests, distinguished resource persons from India and abroad, online and offline, all the faculty members and team members of the organizing committee, and dear students and paper presenters. It has been really a rich and rewarding experience for all of us. We have also learned a lot through the presentation, through the expert lectures. Before I formally announce the result which has been given to me by panel of jury, after assessing total 127 presentations made in 11 sessions, out of which 56 were so there were total 127 presentations distributed in 11 technical sessions, which ran concurrently for 2 days. I think this itself speaks of a great success of the conference. I have organized maybe nearly 100 conferences, symposia, but I have not seen, to be very honest, such huge participation from the students, our faculty members, and that speaks volume about the success and about the hard efforts, meticulous planning of the organizers. When I'm thanking organizers, I am thanking myself also, because we are a partner to this journey, and wonderful efforts we have made, and it has given a good result also. But what we have done is nothing obligation. What we have done is a fundamental duty. Article 51A imposes a fundamental duty on every citizen of India to develop a scientific temper and humanism. 51A(h). Article 51A(j) imposes a fundamental duty on us to strive for excellence. So it is our duty to spread and inform our younger generation who has to bear the metal of these technologies, their gains and pains, both. So I must thank Professor Mallikarjun and his entire team. Because of paucity of time, it may not be possible to name each and every one, but from the core of my heart, gratitude is the memory of art. So I congratulate, I thank, I express my sincere gratitude in joining with us from beginning till today, till this session. And we are fortunate to have Honorable Justice, who I have seen many judges, few of them have been my students, obviously, when they did law. So I have seen rarely few judges like him, who is so tech savvy, so well informed about the technology and its implications. Very few. Sir, I really appreciate and welcome you. Really, we are lucky to have you in the valedictory session. Now, one more important information which everybody must be waiting for, and few might have watching on your mobile. India has scored 200 plus run with the loss of 5 wickets. in 40 overs. Six. So this is the latest update, and let us hope and wish and pray that we win this coveted World Cup. Since our friend and Vice Chancellor Nishthaji is here online, and she is a great poet. We have an association of last 25 years. And I also got infected from her poetic presentations. So there are two lines for you. One is, अधूरी ही सही मगर दिलकश कहानी छोड़ जाऊंगा. अधूरी ही सही मगर दिलकश कहानी छोड़ जाऊंगा. हर मोड़ पर लफ्जों की निशानी छोड़ जाऊंगा. हर मोड़ पर लफ्जों की निशानी छोड़ जाऊंगा. और दो लाइन और है. निष्ठा जी आप सुन रहे हैं? बशीर बद्र की. Now from now onwards, in next few couple of hours, we will start departing. We will go to our destinations. So बशीर बद्र की इन शब्दों के साथ, उजाले अपनी यादों के साथ रहने दो, जिंदगी की किस गली में न जाने शाम हो जाए. So with these words, now I come to the important task which has been given to me. It's my privilege. As I said, 127 presentations were there in 11 sessions, 56 online, 71 in a physical mode. I congratulate each one of the participants who presented their papers. I have also visited all the technical sessions and witnessed few presentations yesterday and today. A great effort by our young friends, and we are really rewarded that they have thought of these technological innovations and applied their mind, knowledge, and articulated the issues which are going to affect us. So based on the report of the jury, we are announcing first 3 papers, best papers, but please do not get discouraged. Every paper is best paper. Every effort is best effort, but we have to follow the certain norms. So the third best paper goes to Nunalini Ramesh Yadav, Assistant Professor, KLE Law College, Navi Mumbai. Professor Dinkar must be also congratulated. Please. Her topic was regulation of digital content in India and its ethical legal challenges. Congratulations. We will award about the prize. You please come here. I will also request, meanwhile, all the Galters members who are present here, please join us. We will request Honorable Judge to give the prize. The second prize goes to Shivani A, student from this KLE Law College, Bangalore. Shivani, please come. The topic was ChatGPT and generative AI, exploring the roadblocks and pathway forward. Congratulations, Shivani A. And now the first prize. The first prize goes to S. Aditya, and jointly, because it was a joint presentation, S. Aditya from VIT School of Law, Chennai, and Dr. Sonika Bharadwaj, again VIT School of Law, Chennai. Congratulations. Please come here. The topic was Kautilya Principles for Ethical and Sustainable AI Governance, a framework for responsible use. Very good. All these topics were very important. Their presentations have been judged as first best 3. So congratulations to all of you. And now the prize. Galter has a practice of encouraging young friends, and Galter will award the amount of 2,000 rupees to the first winner. There are 2, so please distribute it. Plus 1 year academic fellowship to both of you. We will send you the link, fill the form. I think you have your details, contact number, mail ID. We will send you the link, fill the details. It will be complimentary for you. Otherwise, it is paid. But we encourage young students to be academic fellow and participate in Galter activities. So I request Honorable Justice, please join us. Okay, please join us.
First by S. Aditya and Dr. Sonika Bharadwaj. Next. Yeah. Hold on. Please share it with your fellow. Okay?
AP has been awarding me as well. I was a student, colleague of sir. Yeah, now
sir,
Second winner. Second winner.
Sure. Second prize goes to Shivani A of the
and for the third winner, we will give 1 year membership, academic fellowship, not membership. Membership is for senior people. Academic fellowship to you. You can join us.
Yeah. Thanks to the link. Join tomorrow. That will be good. Yeah. That's more important than these cash prize. I tell you. There are many more opportunities to associate with Galter programs and activities.
Money is not important. Please don't measure it by money because we are having limited resources. The only philosophy is to encourage friends. With these words, once again, thank you all. Namaskar. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir, and congratulations to all the winners. Thank you, sir, for your support and commitment that you have exhibited towards this conference. As we reach the end, I would like to take a moment to remind us all of the great work that we all have done through the 2 days of this conference in understanding the urgency and need for technology, ethical responsibility, and evolution of law in the progress of our ever-evolving society. With this, I now take the pleasure of inviting Dr. Vishnu Prasad R., Associate Professor, HOD of Research and Development, KV Law College, Bengaluru, to present the vote of thanks.
Now, distinguished dignitaries on and off the dais, esteemed delegates and invitees, both in physical presence and virtual participation. On behalf of myself, principal, staff, and management of KLE Law College, and also the members of the organizing committee, I deem it as both my honor and responsibility to extend heartfelt gratitude through this vote of thanks. The expression of thanks is not a mere formality. It is a sincere acknowledgement of the collective efforts that have made this conference a grand success. In this direction, I extend my sincere appreciation with utmost respect to the chief guest of the valedictory function, Honorable Mr. Justice Suraj Govindraj, for his insightful address. Sir, you have added a value within this limited time to the entire discourse on the theme, and also this has benefited immensely to all the members who are gathered here. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Pavan Dugal, in fact, has benefited us with his expertise that I believe leads all the delegates to delve deeper into, in fact, their research pursuits. Sir, your insights have been of immense help. Thank you so much, sir. I extend my gratitude to Mr. Amit Dubey for shedding light on various issues related to the theme of the conference and offering new avenues for legal analysis. Thank you for the same, sir. I express my thanks to Professor Dr. Nishtha Jaswal, the Vice Chancellor of HPNLU, and we have come to discover your the other face or talent, I must say. I was knowing that you are a very good academician, and we are benefited with your poetic message. Thank you so much, Professor, for the same. And also I place on record the fact that academic partners, yes. I also place on record that HPNLU has been one of the academic partner institutions, and similarly, special thanks to the Indian Institute of Legal Education and Research, Goa, and the Society for Promotion of Excellence in Higher Education for their esteemed partnership. We look forward for future, association as well. Heartfelt thanks to our sponsors, namely the KLE Academy, Belgavi, GNLU for the conference kit, and Mr. Nitin Kushuva, advocate and alumni of the KLE Law College, for their generous support in making this event a grand reality. I must also make a special mention of what Professor Navi has done. I think he has done a magic here for his number one unwavering support throughout the conference by donning many of the roles which we requested him to manage as advisor, chair, and moderator. And of course, he has been our continuous advisor. Thank you, sir. And the success of this event owes much to the dedicated support of Professor Bhandari, the entire Galter team and its members. I'm trying to summarize my experience of working with him. Professor Bhandari's visionary approach has been aligned seamlessly with KLE's vision, and that has led to organization of this conference. Thank you, Bhandari sir, for being the head academic advisor for this conference. It's all part and parcel of the organization, sir. My heartfelt thanks to all the delegates, paper presenters, resource persons, chairs, co-chairs of the session for their valuable contributions. I extend my gratitude to the members of KLE Law Academy, all the principals and academic staff of sister institutions for their unwavering support in ensuring the smooth conduct of the conference on both the days. Special thanks to the student volunteers who have worked along with the respective faculty in charge of various committees for their tireless efforts and meticulous planning that has been executed, and the backbone of flawless execution, if I may say, that happens to be the organizing committee and the subcommittees along with the student volunteers. And my appreciation to the media for having covered the event, and the IT team of KLE Law College for making this conference globally and virtually accessible. Thanks to the supporting and admin staff for their valuable assistance, and a special note of gratitude and appreciation, as always, goes to my teacher and principal, Professor J.M. Mallikarjunaya, for all the encouragement, all the guidance that he has extended. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I also have a quick message as we bid farewell. Let's carry forward the collaborative spirit and the seeds of new ideas sown during this particular conference. Wishing everyone safe travels, and we look forward to meeting again in future endeavors. May the connections made and memories created during this event inspire us to continue working together towards shared goals. Thank you all.
I request everyone to be seated while the judges exit the halls, and I've been escorted out. Sir, one photo session, please.
No, we will do there. Elevation. No problem. I am always comfortable there. No freedom. Going to stand up. Right angle for yeah. Photo.